Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So what has been some of your experiences in traveling in the area where some of these others are? Can you go over anything? Have you had issues, or what do you see?
Yeah, I got stopped last year. My vehicle, I got stopped by the police. My vehicle was in a trust, and the officer came up to the car. So I asked him, why did he stop me? And he asked me for identification. So I gave him my IDP and my ID. So when I gave it to him, he asked me, he's like, what is this? I said, this is my international driving permit and my ID. He said, okay. Went back to the car. About 4 minutes later, he came back. He was like, have a nice day. And I asked him, I said, well, why did you stop me? He was like, you might want to get the bulb over your license plate fixed. And left me alone. I was in the city of Chicago too.
Yeah.
So what I will say that I had done, my car was in a private trust, and it was bonded, and my ID was bonded, and my ID was bonded. Everything has to be the bond is the golden key. Everything has to be backed. That's our insurance policy to everything that we own. Without that bond, the same things are going to occur. You can't go from, okay, I'm gonna get an ID today and then I'm gonna get a bond. You still have things that you have to put in place so they'll recognize who you are to leave you alone. Yep. And that's how, it worked for me. And I drove around before that on just riding on the injunction on some tags that didn't have a license plate sticker on, with suspended license and a warrant, and got in a car accident and didn't go to jail.
Hello. Preacher.
So we have to stop trying to cut corners, mix processes, because I will tell you this, if you mix something with AMPC, you're going to mess up somewhere. And it's not going to work. And the first thing you're going to do is come back and want to point the finger, when you have to look in the mirror and point the finger at yourself. Like Harold Razor said earlier, we can't get in the process and not be a part of it along the way. We can't get comfortable. They don't want us to do this. This changes the world. The bigger our bond get globally, this changes the dynamic. They don't want this type of stuff to come into place.
Yeah, to preach it, because that's the truth.
So we have to act accordingly. Stay the course. Trust the process. It's not easy. I've been there too. Pinching pennies, trying to make it happen, put it together so it'll work. Look, it comes with the territory. If you don't want to do it, you need to go back and get you a driver's license, get some regular insurance. Yeah. If you keep trying to mix, you're going to have issues. We here to help. I love helping. I don't have a problem with helping, but I don't like stupidity. Y'all got a great support system that's being put into place constantly. Y'all just gotta be patient and do the work. But as far as the traveling part, that's what worked for me. When I first came involved with AMPC, I needed to know from day one, what did I need to do? Because I knew that I had suspended license, I knew I had an active warrant, and I knew my tags were suspended. Well, not suspended, but I never renewed. So we got to ask questions. Get off our soapbox. Get out our feelings.
Okay, I got a question. Okay.
Go ahead.
You said that you had a, you didn't have the suspended license, or did they suspend your license?
No, my license was suspended.
Okay, and you had, what were the tags and the insurance? What's the status on that when they pulled you?
I had AMPC insurance, and I had, my vehicle was in a private trust.
Okay.
But it was registered with the state though, but it's in a private irrevocable trust. But I did not have a driver's license.
Okay, so starting with that information.
Yeah.
And then you got the what from AMPC, because you still have all that past history from the state. They have you on record. You're in the system with all that garbage. Okay. So you went to AMPC, and how did the suspended, the tag, all of that stuff go by the wayside with what?
It didn't go by the wayside. I just changed. I changed. I took it from out my birth name and put it into a private trust.
Thank you. Okay, number one. Okay. So that voided out, they had your BC in their status, in their, okay.
Yes, ma'am. Good question.
So, okay, so the next thing was with the insurance.
Yeah.
So you're saying that
He didn't even. You know what? He asked me for the insurance, and I didn't even give bother to look for it. When I gave him my ID and my IDP, I gave it to him. He went back to the car, ran the plate. I called my son just because I was right up the street from his house, just in case they were to try to anything. So by the time I told my son, I waited for a minute, and I was like, well, you know what? I'll just call you back. By the time I was getting ready, I hadn't even hung up. And he had walked back to the car. My son was still on the phone. I had him on speakerphone. And he heard exactly what the officer said. So I have a witness to it to verify that.
but that's not my point. I want to get
What
grounded
is your point?
I want to talk about ANPC.
What do you want to talk about with NPC? What is it? Let me ask you this. What is it that you need to do?
Okay, I want to hear, you said that you had the insurance, or what did you get from ANPC? And did you
Bond.
get the bond? So the bond is, and I understand that because that's initially why I got on the call. So BOND, we're on that point.
But let me explain something to you. If you are not starting from point A with ANPC, you are not going. The bond is not going to be.
God, okay.
Amen.
It's not going to be sufficient for you.
No, I just want to talk about how that turned your past experience into your current situation where they said, have a nice day. So you're talking
Because the bond is the insurance. It's what's behind the bond that you're not going to see until you become involved.
I know that. I am aware of that. I just want to hear it, that it is actually working through for AMPC. That's all.
I just said that. That was the whole premise of me even jumping on the mic and talking.
But you mentioned insurance, so I just wanted to backtrack you back to, it voids out the insurance. You don't need insurance. The bond takes care of everything. It takes care of the BC. It takes care of the illusion of insurance. It takes care of the tags. It takes care of the driver responsibility. So basically, I'm going to be quiet. I thank you, gentlemen.
Can I interject, please, buddy?
Go ahead, bro.
Hey, it's real simple. All AMPC is very good for bonding yourself in the private. All you're doing is taking it out of the United States jurisdiction. That's it. If they don't have jurisdiction, they will pull you over. But when you got your IDP and they run your tags, they're going to see that it's not in their jurisdiction. So it don't matter. You got to have a bond. You got to have a trust, and it got to be out of their jurisdiction. Point blank, period. That's all. Get it out there.
I've been begging for a bond for years. I've been begging for a bond from the beginning. I've been begging for a bond. So okay.
That's what you're not understanding, sweetheart. Once you go through this, once you go through this class, you just got to start over. I understand that you got your old ID, but they're telling you just got to start from scratch.
I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
I thank you, gentlemen.
Let's start from scratch. Everybody's on here for the same thing. We starting from scratch.
Well,
you got to start with an ID to get a membership, first of all, or you take tests. Oh, I know you got the ID. We're saying you got to start over. So you got to take the test or you got to get an ID. Then you have to do the paperwork on the back end to take your driver's license out of their jurisdiction and take your vehicle out of their jurisdiction by bonding it, putting it in the truck.
Let me share another thing with everybody too. Being a part of ANC doesn't mean that before you come in the door that you're going to get the process and exactly how it's supposed to go. You have to get in and you're going to have to trust this process.
Yeah.
Because AMPC is not going to give you the roadmap to tell you this is what we do, this is how we do it, until you show some skin in the game.
Yeah.
It's called private for a reason.
Public and private
Exactly.
don't mix.
In order to be private, you got to do private.
Okay, Hellraiser.
Yeah.
There's a couple of our speakers that are trying to get on their phone app, and it says that the host has to let them in. They can't get in, and they're ready. The John, the director, is ready to speak, and then in a few minutes, the the two couples want to come on with the marriage certificate. So we really need to get John in here. If you can see, can you see him? He's trying to get in.
I don't see him in the waiting room unless he just came in.
Okay, do you see another one? It said, they said that it says the host needs to let them in. That's on a phone app. I don't know if it's different than a computer.
Nah, it's the same. Everybody goes into a waiting room, so I let them in.
Okay.
You said that's John and who else?
What's the screen name?
Is his screen name John?
Just wait, I'll ask. I'm not sure what screen name he's coming in as.
But nobody's in the waiting room. I let everybody in.
Okay. I'm asking him if he can unmute and talk, so let's see. Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me, Christy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, my phone's pretty bad out here. I try to get a good reception.
All right, good. Yeah, no, we can hear you really clear. We can hear you clear.
Okay, good. How's everybody doing tonight?
Pretty good. All right, all right.
Pretty good.
All right.
Okay, so John, can you go over some of the experiences you've had over there and, with the clerk, with your traveling, with, all the how they have the roadblocks set up and the inspections, and tell us what's happened with you, if you wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting what has happened with me since the AMPC status transformation, status correction. All I gotta say is this: I have the car, or I should say, private property tags, and I have all the paperwork that AMPC has offered step by step that we have gotten done, not only for myself, but for my whole family. And I've been pulled over by the sheriffs, by the city PD, to the point where the same cities in the same county, I think they already know what our vehicle looks like. We don't get harassed at all. At first, just like Hellraiser was saying, I was able to catch a little bit. Or one of the other gentlemen was speaking. I forget who, forgive me if I don't recall the name correctly. But you have got to make sure that when it comes to this process with AMPC, that you're not bringing in anything else. You do not mix the holy with the profane. Keep things pure, and you know who you are, and you know your standing when it comes to the documents being challenged, because the system will challenge. One, maybe because they've never seen any kind of car tags. They might not have seen a special ID, identification, traveling documentation. They might not have seen all of these things, or they just have been coming across individuals that might have similar type of paperwork, and they lump it all together into maybe a sovereignty type thing, which it's not. It's above and beyond that. But I've been challenged on the tags that I have, on the information. I've gotten a couple parking tickets, which I was able to deal with those and get those set off. I should say extinguished and totally reversed, where there's nothing connected to the vehicle VIN number, anything on the car. And I use the word car very lightly. It's private property now. Also, I received a speeding ticket, and I was able to get that thing discharged and extinguished from the state of California Highway Patrol, all because of the documentation and and how I would have to say how I handled myself with the policy enforcers, whoever they might be. So we've had our challenges here on Los Angeles, which is pretty interesting. When it comes to roadblocks, recently they had a highway patrol roadblock over on the city of La Mirada, which I have never seen before. And they flagged me to go through, and you have to go through at maybe 2 miles an hour. So they're seeing the car tags, they're seeing everything. And unlike maybe everybody else, I don't know if everybody goes the route of car tags or they keep their state license plate, which would show up in a private trust foreign entity. Me, I went all the way out, and I got the car tags because I'm just confident in what AMPC has had to offer, and to work for us. So I went through this highway patrol inspection, which I've never seen before. They examined what I had on my windshield, and they examined car tags, and they just flagged me through with no trouble whatsoever. After visual,
Hey, bro, do you have your freeholders bond?
yeah, well, I have everything. The freeholders bond. I got
Everything?
the silver bond, the indemnity. Yeah, so we have our paperwork in place, and the bond is important because if you guys think about it, whatever goes on out there, from criminal cases to traffic stops to civil cases, it doesn't matter. Everything is dealt with bonds. So when it comes to the AMPC process, this silver bond is the silver bullet that backs everything up, so that you have your proof and your evidence also that what you're presenting has a standing and has a backing with the silver bond, which I truly believe that the silver bond has not even been exhausted with its recognition yet, but it will happen. This world system and the systems within the world have not really.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Is it breaking up again? Am I still on? Can you guys hear me?
No,
Yeah,
John,
we can hear you.
we can hear you. I think somebody else is unmuted and they're talking in the background. So please, everybody else, mute your speakers so we can hear what John is saying, please.
Yeah, it might be my headphones.
No, there's somebody else talking in the background.
Okay.
You're fine. Just go ahead, John.
Yeah, so when it comes to the AMPC paperwork, I would have to agree as well and encourage everyone that might be watching or might be listening to this later on. I have no idea. Go through the steps that are required by AMPC. You have individuals that are putting in their time to make sure everything is in place the way it's supposed to be placed, and to make sure that doors are closed that need to be closed, doors open that need to be opened up, and get this paperwork done the way it's supposed to be. And if I can, I would even say this, and I had to school myself on this through different venues so that I knew what I had and I know who I am. But if all you want to do is just gather up a bunch of paperwork from AMPC and you just want to have that sitting, and you do not comprehend what you have, and you don't comprehend who you are now, being that you began the walkthrough with the AMPC process, then you actually don't have anything. No disrespect whatsoever, but if you don't know what you have, you really don't have anything. You got to know how to defend what you have. You have to know who you are. And it's got to be real. It's not a script that you memorize. You can't expect AMPC to give you something to say memorize, that you'll have to say. This has to come from your spirit. This has to come from your heart. You need to know who you are, and you need to stand on who you are with confidence, because I'll tell you this, especially with Los Angeles, and there's probably other cities out there like New York, Chicago, the policy enforcers over here, they do not relent, and they do not care when it comes to their jurisdiction, so we have to make sure that we know who we are, that we're not going to budge, and we're going to stand on that and be able to communicate that to the authorities that be without coming out of honor, by staying in honor, staying in respect, and knowing who you are. When you know who you are, you're not going to get, you shouldn't be putting yourself in the place of getting in trouble. I know there's situations out there, but for me, as an individual, if I can say that, the paperwork I have has been tested, has been challenged, has been looked at, and like I said, they probably the different agencies that are out here, I think they know who we are already, with the small city police, the county, because we've been up and down all over the place, and what we have has been challenged, and we're standing in honor, standing in respect, and I would encourage everybody else to just know what they have, and make sure that you listen to those who are restructuring some things with AMPC. There's a reason for it. Stay encouraged, and don't mix things, as in paperwork. Don't try to grab the AMPC thing or pick and choose. You might want something from here to maybe make something else work. It doesn't work like that. AMPC is chosen to be a set apart nation, and that's how you get respected also from surrounding nations, when you stand on what you believe and what you have, and what you have, if I could say, authenticated and put into place in its proper order.
Yeah, we've actually had members that have been pulled over in really tough areas. And when the police officer saw that everything they had matched, they had the liability insurance written off the bond, they had the ANPC ID, the IDP, the authentication papers, the car was in a trust. When they seen everything matched, they actually told the member, they said, wow, everything matches. I love this. And they'd let them go. They just, that was their reply. I think they're used to a lot of people out there that are trying to, be private, and they don't know what they're doing, and they're mixing this and that and the other thing. I think that's what they're used to. So the police officer was rather taken aback that everything matched. That was his own words.
Right. Good word. And it's just like this. Apples are apples, oranges are oranges. If you try to mix the two, you create a hybrid, and it's better to stay pure. Keep things pure, keep things connected to their origins, and not mix anything. And that's one thing we have not done, and we will not do, is try to mix in what AMPC has already established and try to reinvent the wheel. It's just not going to work like that. The paperwork that AMPC has and has respectfully have taken their time over the years to put together I think is second to none when it comes to the traveling aspect. But we have had no further problems down here with traveling whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. So John, what is it? You shrunk down a color copy of your silver bond, and what size did you shrink it down to put it on your window?
Yeah, what I did, and that's a good question. And what I did is I wanted to get creative, and instead of pulling out, copies of the originals from my glove compartment, as I shrunk down the indemnity letter, the silver bond, and the liability card. And what I did is I shrunk these down, probably I would say 3 inches by 1.5 inch with the indemnity and the silver bond. The other one, the liability card, is pretty much a square, I think 3 by 3 or something like that. And I put them in the windshield on the traveler side behind the wheel, if I could say that. And it's been looked at quite a bit, from police officers, parking enforcement, they've seen that, and so I did that.
Okay, so you did it on the passenger side and the windshield in the bottom right corner?
No, it'll be the one traveling in the conveyance, in the private property. For those of you that might not be familiar with certain terms, the car, the one behind the wheel, I put it on the windshield behind, quote unquote, the driver's side or the traveler side.
So in the bottom corner, did you put it in the bottom corner?
No, I put it right on the top.
Oh, in
And,
the top. Like
Yeah,
where you get the oil change stickers and things like that?
Yeah, right up in that corner, right.
Ah, okay.
And so everything that I have matches all the paperwork that I've had done, which is, I think, is key thing is not to miss a beat to get. I encourage everyone. There's a special group that we love. They're our family up on the state of Oregon. A wonderful brother, Dave Matthews, and his entire ministry team. When I spoke to them the first time, I encouraged them to get everything they could get and comprehend. And I'll tell you this, I have not met too many groups out there that sit down and have repeatedly special meetings to make sure every individual knows what they have and who they are. And I have to take my hat off to what we know as the Manna Crew, Dave Matthews and his entire ministry team and family up there. They really put their work in to know what they have. And several of the smaller groups down here that I know, same thing, is they're putting their homework in, because once again, you could have everything and say, hey, look what I have. And there should probably be some kind of a test there where an individual can explain and express and communicate document by document when it comes to the AMPC, what that is and why they have that and what is it for. And I think that's important, because it should just roll off the tongue as soon as you get pulled over, and instead of the butterflies manifesting through the mouth, people get very nervous.
Exactly.
But
Hey,
if
John,
you're confident and
I
you
got
know
a
who you are,
question.
there's nothing that can stop you. And it's just like this: is you could be motivated to do something, but that motivation comes and goes. It's best
Yeah,
to be a driven man or a driven woman to get something done and know
right.
what
I got a question.
Hey, John, can you drop your email in there?
hey,
Yeah.
John,
Yes,
Drop
go
your
ahead. I hear
email
like.
with all your California brothers and sisters that are listening.
Oh, okay.
That
We
live
got
down the
some.
street from-
All right, we got some Californians out here. I would love
We
to.
got some Orange County brothers and sisters right down
Oh.
from La Habra and all them cities you talk
Oh,
about.
nice. We're gonna have to meet up somehow. Set up a day where we could just get together and have a nice conversation.
Hey, we ain't meeting up at no Starbucks or no Waffle House. I'll tell you
Yeah, I don't go in Starbucks.
hey, John, I wanted to, I actually hopped on that process you had shared as soon as I heard about it, about creating a mini bond.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wait,
so
say it again about the group what?
I had that bond right there. So I shrunk it down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I jumped on that as soon as I heard you did that.
Oh yeah, I think that's good, because you have it, and what I did is I had everything laminated so it's nice and sturdy, like a business card.
It's visible for them to see.
Oh, it's clear, and one of the I think it was a sheriff. Yeah, one of the sheriffs. When I was speaking with him, he says, "Why is that so small there? I can't even read that." I said, "If you can't read that," I said, this had nothing to do with the actual stop. It was in a mall area, and they were doing some checks or whatever. They saw me standing out, and my light doesn't work over the car tag, which I don't need to. I can do whatever I want with my private property. They can't tell me what to do. They need a light over that so that they can identify what belongs to the state, which is a license plate issued by the state. So the sheriff right there out of the city of, I think that's La Habra or going into Brea or something. I was by Brea Mall, or one of the cops, forget what it is. They saw that, and the officers. There you go. It's that because of something that I guess took place over here, and me standing by my vehicle, no light in the back there, and saw what I had on the windshield, and he says, "How do you expect anybody to read that?" I said, "That right there is up to the individuals that are curious with my private property. That's going to be up to them how they read that, because it's clear. It's loud and clear to me, and it's loud and clear to anybody else." But I did that, and I have not had any other problems. Like I said, when it comes to LA, you got a lot of stuff that goes on out here in downtown LA. I've had narcs next to me. My windows have lit tint all the way around, and share and around the vehicle and trying to pick up me and my on the freeway and whipped up on the right side. We come from LAX, and they're trying to who the heck this was in this vehicle to them, and they stood on us for some miles and just left. You know, I had the ANPC car tags there, I had all my stuff ready. All my paperwork is in perfect order if I need to pull it out. So it's in my glove compartment and it's in perfect order the way I need to pull that out if need be. Everything.
Hey, John,
So,
do you show them a
we
fee
need-
schedule? Do you show a fee schedule?
Yeah. What I had done, you don't have to do this. Me, I kind of go overboard. And I think for some situations that'd be good is I have multiple copies of my fee schedule with specific areas highlighted depending on any given situation. So it took me some time to do that. So I know which one's which, the way I folded each page. So my fee schedule is there, and I'm helping the system out. I'm educating them
Yes, you are.
without making it obvious. I'm educating them so it doesn't belittle their mindset. But I'm educating them by highlighting specific areas that they're breaching and that they're trespassing on. So along with everything else that I give them, that's right there, and they see this, and they know that it's not something you just create at home. You know, this paperwork is just pretty powerful. I've used it up with situations like I just mentioned with myself and my family. I've had my wife and my daughter, who's with me right here, right now, when the highway patrol pulled us over. You know, and I pulled over. I was going 84 miles an hour on a 70-mile-an-hour highway going up north, and they pulled us over. And first thing I asked the highway patrol, I just asked him. I said, "Officer," I said, "would your body cam happen to be on recording live as speaking?" And he said, "Yes." So then I took control of the conversation, and he acted like he never heard anything. What I was asking him is what I was doing is I made sure up front I took control of the conversation, and it was very clear that there was not a contracting venue between him and I whatsoever. No contract with the state, nothing. And I was just declaring to him exactly what I was having. He didn't even know how to write. He wrote a ticket. He wrote a ticket. I didn't even grab from the, and he did not know what to put on the ticket. I'm gonna have to say, I told Christy to send her a picture of all the paperwork on that. He wrote the ticket. I wrote some information on that ticket. I never signed nothing. I put ink that was pretty much a revolt and a stop and a stop.
I'm talking right now.
With paperwork from ANPC. 2-hour period. I did that very quickly, and I received a letter back from the state, but everything was pretty much, there was nothing on the road for the VIN number that was on the car, license they can pull up. They I had to give my AM ID and whatnot. So that was immediately moved. There was a lien on the vehicle already. So I'm going to put a lien.
Yeah, John, you're breaking up.
Yeah, John, you're breaking up really
What's
bad.
going to happen? No, I'm sorry, guys. It's like where we're at.
They're messing you up, brother.
Yeah, so can you hear me now? How about now?
Yeah, we can hear you now. We didn't hear what you did though on what you wrote on the ticket. It kept breaking up from there. So everybody was anxiously trying to hear what you put on the ticket and what happened. And everybody's just sitting there breathless and it just breaks up.
Let me, yeah, I could only imagine why. Let me, have some
Put your email in the chat
Bluetooth
first before you get
headphones,
lost.
but I think these got beat up enough.
John, what is your,
Okay, let me,
can you
switch it.
put, yeah, can you put your director's email in the, or do you want me to put your director's email in the chat for people to contact you through the director's email?
If that's okay, please, John.
I think he's gone again.
Yeah, man, they're really trying to block him out of the.
Yeah, he's got a lot of information, that's why.
Yes, ma'am. So do you. I'm surprised they're not blocking you
Oh,
out.
can you guys hear me now? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear any. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, I got my other headphones that I found in my. Okay, so all right, so what was I talking about? All these chemtrails here. Well, I was talking about my trip. The trip. Last thing I was talking about was when I got a ticket. Well, I didn't even get a ticket. I'm trying to use my words very careful over the phone because you gotta watch what you say over the phone too, you know. So, but I think I was talking about when we were headed up north and I think it was a little embarrassed.
You're breaking up again, brother.
Which I don't have. Now, can you guys hear me?
We hear you now.
Okay, how about now? You guys hear me now?
Yep. Good.
Okay. I'm gonna have to send pictures of that and give it to you, Chris, so and then you can just distribute it because someone don't want me on this phone. But yeah, I encourage you guys. When I first came to ANPC, I was determined to learn everything that I was doing and to come to know it and come to know who I really was and was supposed to be. So I would encourage you guys to do that with your paperwork that you have and stay in honor. You know, don't run those stoplights. Everybody knows this. Don't be in dishonor out on the road.
Yes.
Travel. I want to say it like this: travel with the highest integrity level, and walking in honor. You know, the Creator's watching us, and we have to stay full because when you guys, if you haven't already, when your personal life tested with this documentation, and then light bulb goes on after flies leave, and you're able to defend what you have. You got to stay humble from that point on, even more so, because you're going to see that this works, and that there's a respect out there for who you are as a living man and living woman, and a living man and living woman that has all of their standing status documentation in place and authenticated and recorded, and there'll be a greater respect there, but also a greater humility. And I really say this from my heart, a greater humility with this level of documentation. You know? And I apologize if my phone is still breaking up. I've walked across this street right here like 3 times, and it's just, I don't know what it is. You guys will probably hear the traffic. I'm like out on the street now because there's no reception out here. So I don't know.
Come to my house. I think I got good
Yeah,
reception over here.
Yeah, we're over with my family too. So they're walking the thing, and
I just
I'm
left
up
Disneyland.
on the city of Whittier.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, you probably had a. Yeah, you're not too far
Disneyland
with traffic.
Oh, you got a lot of
Now you breaking it back.
Well, I don't know if Chris, there.
I can't hear you, John. You disappeared. Hello?
Yeah, they're cutting them off back.
Well, I know that at least one of the couples is on that wants to talk about their experience with the marriage covenant and possibly the second one. So I don't know if we want to move into that now. They were scheduled for 8. So I'm thinking maybe we should let them talk and then we can continue.
All right, I'll mute mine.
Yeah, we can go ahead and get started with them.
Okay, so,
Who was that, JC? Or
Vanessa E I see Vanessa E on here. Can you, I don't,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Vanessa, and I was going to share with you my husband and I's experience with the marriage documents. Chris is actually my mom, and we have been married almost a year. And I was a little bit skeptical about using this at first. I'm not going to lie, because I was, but I knew enough about regular state-issued marriage licenses and how the state can use that to take control of a lot of things in your life, including your children, your future children, and anything that you bring into a marriage, it gives them control over. So I talked it over with my husband-to-be, and we decided that we wanted to go this route with my mom's help. She got all these documents set up, and it was kind of a trial run for us. It was the first marriage document that we had done this way, or my mom had done this way. So we filed Mom, you might have to help me out here because I don't really remember what it was called that we filed first in the paper.
Yeah, a notice of intent.
Intent, yes.
Yeah.
You filed that for 30 days or 60 days? Do you remember?
Well, it was just the standard public notice in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Here it ran for 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
Yeah, then we got an affidavit of publication afterwards showing that nobody had come forward to give any reason why you should not have a common law marriage. So
Yes. So we wrote our own vows, and that's what we put on our marriage document was our personal vows to each other. And my mom wrote it up. She designed it. It was gorgeous, a gorgeous document. And I have a picture of it. I'll see if I can share it on the chat when I'm finished so you all can look at it. But we had like the witness signatures and everything like that. And so on our wedding day, we had the best man and the maid of honor sign it along with my husband Connor and I's signatures. And then my godfather married us, and we had his signature on there. And we filed that with the clerk of court and got the seal on it, the clerk's seal on it. And it was really easy to do. We just took it in there, and I believe we filed it with a couple other papers. Did we, Mom?
yeah, I think you put in the affidavit of publication and the notice of intent. Yeah.
Right. And so we filed that with them, and I wanted to change my name and take his name. So I have a state driver's license still, and I was looking or wondering how that was going to work with it not being a state-issued marriage license, if they would recognize it as a name change document. So we went into the DMV, and the ladies were looking at it, and at first they were like, well, they were like, wow, this is different, and they were looking at it, and they looked at it, and they're like, well, it has the court seal on it, and, it's got the date, and it's got the witnesses, and they're like, well, this looks great. And they were so excited because they said that never had they seen Marion County issue such beautiful marriage licenses. They said they were so impressed because they thought the courthouse was stepping up their game, and they were finally issuing some marriage licenses that were pretty. And they were going on and on about it and just how amazing it was. And they were like, we're going to tell our children and people that we know that they should go get a marriage license at the Marion Courthouse because they have pretty nice looking marriage documents. And I was laughing so hard when we got to the car. I called my mom and I told her about it. And I was like, well, I got my own personal lawyer who creates my own documents. And it was pretty funny. But yeah, it was recognized in every place that we took it to as being a full legal marriage certificate without it being through the state, which is exactly what we wanted. And yeah, that is my story about it. And we are so glad we did it that way instead of going
do you
through
have a birth certificate? Do you have a birth certificate?
I do, yes. I was given a birth certificate when I was born, so I do have one. But
So your other
yeah.
brothers and sisters don't?
A couple of them do. I know like the last few of my siblings, they didn't get birth certificates because my mom found out about that, and you know how that was. But us older ones did get them, yes.
Okay. Thank you for the information. That was beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Now, John, are you on here? John, Sadie, are you guys on?
Yes, I'm on.
Right here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So go ahead, John.
I don't know that I have too much to say about it, but I also did it just pretty much like Vanessa was saying, but we haven't got it recorded yet. See, we went down in Tennessee, and down there they said there's no place that we can just that we can record just anything. They would do the property recording, but not just any documents. So I haven't got it recorded yet. I thought I'd probably send it down to Lamar County, Georgia, but I just haven't gotten that far. But I got it notarized. I did it about like that. I did the notary seal on it, but I didn't do anything more with it. And I haven't tried anything else like that we needed it for anything. So we really don't have much experience with it, or really don't have too much to say about it. But I want to get that sticker on. Then if we need anything with it, it should be good to go, like what Vanessa was saying. But I don't know that I have too much to say about it now.
All right. Well, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, John.
Vanessa, we see your certificate. It came up upside down, though.
Is that Vanessa's?
Yeah, that's hers. It's upside down, though.
And is she married through AMPC and with her spouse or significant other?
Say that again.
Is that the certificate that they get through AMPC when they want to go that route?
That's one of them. That's one of them. They have different designs. I don't know. John, can you figure out how to share? You probably don't have yours, but there's different designs. They have different choices of designs. Oh, there. Now it's up. Now it's right.
Okay, sorry. Sorry. I didn't realize that was upside down.
That looks good.
I have a quick question. Was your spouse an American national too, or just you, or how did that work?
My spouse? No, he had a birth certificate and everything, just like I did. But this was one area that we decided to go a different route than the state, because we both agreed on that. And he had done a little bit of research and knew a little bit about how state licenses or state marriage licenses affected your marriage and, like, you know, your assets basically. So he was, he knows a lot about it. He's helped my mom out with documents and stuff, so he definitely knows a lot about it.
So you basically status. So you guys both actually went the whole AMPC route?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You broke.
Did you guys get the proper? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, they haven't done the whole thing. You know, there's sometimes in your families, one wants to, one doesn't. Some are nervous, some are not, you know. So they haven't done the whole thing. They basically have done this, and they have the bond bonded car insurance and stuff like that, but they haven't gone the whole way yet.
So they don't have a perfected title, but have bonds attached to the names?
I know they have authenticated birth certificates. I'm not exactly sure if, I don't think they've
Did
gone.
they file a non, hey, Chris, did they file a non-UCC?
I believe so. I believe so. I'm not exactly sure on that, but I believe so. I believe they have a non-UCC on that marriage certificate and the bond. I know it is on their bond.
But they didn't go fully American National all the way. But they did but they went and did the non-UCC steps.
Well, see, because it's my daughter, I cover her. I can cover all my children under my bond on the insurance and liability and UCC. So when you get a bond or anything, you can cover all of your children, all of your family under that bond, because basically
she's a part of your trust.
Yes, yeah, she's part of. She is on my non-UCC and she's bonded and everything else because, yeah, so that's another thing. Those of you that have children, be sure when you get your non-UCC bonded claims and everything, you claim everybody.
All of our kids, what you're saying.
Yes, yes.
So how does it go when we're married or when we have a significant other and we
you
both
claim
have a
them.
kid?
Yeah.
I claim both of them under me.
Yes.
You know, we're not married. Okay.
You can. I mean, why not? That's, you can cover them under your insurance. Now, when you get the bond, it standardly says on there, anybody in your household. It says right in there that this
Wow.
bond covers anybody in your household, including spouses, children, or anybody needing to be bonded in your household. That's what it says.
And is that the freeholders bond or the treasury bond? I mean,
both of them.
Silver,
both of them cover whoever is in your household. Now, when it comes to the jury, though, there is something that you might want to think about. When it comes to the jury, if a husband and wife both want to be a juror, each juror has to be bonded by 21 pieces, a 21-piece bond. That's just how it is with the jury. You can't share when it comes to a jury, but you can share when it comes to car liability, things like that. But the jury itself, so let's say somebody went through all the processes and they got a treasury bond. Maybe the husband got a treasury bond. The wife doesn't have to get the treasury bond, which is more expensive. She can come in simply with a freehold bond, and you can share the 21 pieces of silver until you can save up and get, another 21. But you do each have to have your own separate bond if you're going to sit on the jury.
Okay, hey Chris, quick question then. Since we're on the bond topic, did we ever get to the conclusion to where we're able to get a medallion stamp for 21? How are we able to utilize 21 from a bank that does not guarantee 21 B coins? If they're not going to guarantee that on one bond, how are we able to split it up? We master the Q-tip process where we split the bond up in multiple different trusts.
You broke up really bad. I only got some of what you're saying, but I'm not sure that I got what you were saying, but that work.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm saying, did we get to the point to where we're able to utilize the bonds perfectly, to where we're able to use the QSIP numbers to get the medallion stamp on the single bond? Because our research
work in process.
shows us that
That's still a work in process.
Stamp $21 billion bonds.
Yeah,
They're
we're
less.
working. Yeah, we're working on that. There's people working on that all the time. So that's coming. That's a work in progress.
Okay. But so once that's mastered, what are the capabilities? What are the assets? What can we do with that when that's perfected? Besides what we're able to do right now with the bonds that we're not able to get the medallion stamp on. Does that make
Well,
sense? Or no?
At this point, like we said, it's a work in progress, and at this point, we're not really going into that because what was happening earlier is we'd talk about it, and then these people would go crazy and take a bond and just run all over and just ruin the possibilities. They didn't even have the correct paperwork. So when people get
Right.
their bonds, I mean, we're just saying, do not take those bonds running into banks because there's specific paperwork that you have to even move with these things. So we're not going to go over that at this point until we get the wrinkles ironed out here. And that's just, we just ask everybody if they can, be patient because we are working.
Well, how did they get the liability then with them not being American nationals, but they have bonds that put liability on their coverages? They can cover themselves without being American nationals. But
okay, who can cover? Oh, because
your son-in-law.
yeah, well, you can cover on your bond, you can cover liability insurance. The state DMVs will accept liability insurance on any car. For example,
without being a freeholder.
okay, I mean, you really need to be, but there are people where they had an emergency where they had a family member and they needed to be covered, and the state DMV said no problem. They covered them off of their bond.
I got a question.
You can't get the treasury bond until you do specific processes anyway. So unless you full process, you cannot get the treasury. Anybody can get their freeholder.
They perfected it and were able to utilize it for certain altercations or for certain situations. That's all I'm saying. But it makes sense now. Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
I've got a question on the, for instance, the freeholders, which is with the travel. Having a commercial vehicle, and some of the bonds can go up to $1 to $5 million. So with that freehold bond, because I see the cost of the bond, but in terms of the value of the coverage, so and now I'm hearing in your conversations that you have to have 21 silver in order to cover each particular bond. That's right. That's a lot of silver per each bond instead of the value of the bond. I mean, the value of the silver should be covering all of these bonds. So share that information, those couple questions.
I'm not exactly sure what you're meaning. It's a 21 silver dollar bond, so I'm not exactly sure what you mean by that.
Okay, well, I heard people talking about you have to get separate bonds, but for each bond, you have to back it by 21 silver, right?
Yep. Yes.
So if you've got, say, a freeholder's bond, or you have a surety bond or a treasury bond, you have to have 21 silver per each of these, these specific types of bondings, correct? Or does the one set of 21 silver cover all of the value in all of these bonds? You only need one set of 21 silver.
Well, there again, it depends. If you're going to do just a freeholder's bond and a treasury bond for yourself,
yeah,
you can probably share the silver. However, you might, what I would suggest is, down the road, working it, getting one piece at a time until you have enough, because down the road, if you're going to do something where you actually go into securities, okay, for example, I had an agent from Wells Fargo that had seen my bond, and they approached me, and Wells Fargo wanted to buy my bond.
Yeah, I've experienced that years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were offering me something like 500,000 for the bond, and I said no. And they because I knew the value of it, and they approached me 3 different times. And you know, and the last time I said no, and the agent said, "You're stupid." I said, "No, I'm smart, because I don't want to give. I'm not going to give you my bond. If I gave him my bond, I had to give him the 21 pieces of silver along with it." And they were going to take it, and they were going to make trillions of dollars on it in the stock market platform, and I was going to get 500,000. No, I'm not going to do that, because I'm not going to enrich the banks. That's all I would be doing.
Yep.
So just think about it down the road. If you're going to be doing something to where you're going to get into securities, you are going to want to have 21 pieces, you know, to bring forward if you're going to do something. So just keep that in mind as well. Also, if you're going to be, if there's, you know, people that are going to be on the jury, each individual has to have their own 21 pieces. Per the common law, each juror has to be backed by 21 pieces.
Okay, so what you're saying actually is, in order to cover all of the value within all these bonds and to be involved in Honduras, you have to have 21 per each in order to cover all of the possibilities of coverage.
Per bond, yeah, it sounds like to me, yeah, that's what she's
Yeah, okay,
saying.
so 21 or 42 pieces or 63 pieces. So, and then you would be able to fully function no matter what is going on, to have everything covered within, and that's the individual. So you did mention multiple, so that would be per individual, not per family.
Right, yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
I got one more question, because the first question was, with a commercial vehicle and taking it out on the road, a semi-tractor, or a commercial piece of heavy equipment, some of these bonds are 1 to 5 million or more. So a specific, say the freeholders with a commercial truck, the value on that bond, because you have no value that you're specifying on the freeholder's bond. So can that go up with the 21 silver that you're backing it with? Can that cover the cost or the value of, say, 5 million or 10 million on whatever commercial unit that you're covering on that and the liability?
Oh,
Okay.
Are you
All
getting-
right.
hey,
So
Chris.
yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, quick question. Sorry, not to butt her off, but a quick, just to add on to that question, do we need a bank account in order to use our bonds to purchase?
No. I mean, it depends on what you're going to do. If you're starting to get into securities in that venue, then yes, indeed, you need to open up a trust account. But no. Okay. So
Now again,
back to the question. Several years ago, one of our team had a connection in the Treasury Department. There's a specific department in the Treasury that their whole, all that they're there for is to keep track of the pre-1933 silver coins, the value. Several years ago, they came back and gave us a valuation of $1 million per coin. 2 years later, yes, 1 million per coin. That is what the Treasury is putting the value. The Treasury, they told us that they're holding the valuation for the estimated amount of silver coins they believe are out there still against the public debt. So the value goes up.
Hey, Chris, when you say that they told us, where are they putting that information on for the public?
They don't.
No, it's private.
Okay,
You can't.
So who are they telling that to, and where is that information at?
It's private. It cannot be. Yeah, it's a private. I mean, if it was exposed, whoever it was that let it out would be. I mean, they would be in big trouble. Seriously.
Well, the public can see the national deficit, right, of the United States,
right,
on the website. We can see the overall national deficit.
That's the public.
That's the public side.
Okay, and so that private side that you're saying where we're in debt, or all that debt that you're talking about is just for the private side only?
No,
Okay, no. What's happening is the silver coins are what stands between the people and that public debt. The silver coins are what, so 2 years later, we had him go back and get a second valuation, and 2 years later, because of the public debt, it climbed up. The valuation of the coins had gone from 1 million to 1 billion. So let's say the fiat dollars crashed tonight. The true value of that silver that you hold in your hands would suddenly be whatever valuation the Treasury has on it.
Okay.
So think about that a minute. Those silver coins are, I mean,
Yep.
they are so valuable.
So valuable. That's lawful. That's lawful only.
So to answer your question, yes, you can go up to 21 billion on your insurance, whatever you need.
all right, thank you. That's what I was thinking. Okay.
So the misinterpretation is that there is no more, that there is no money. There is money, but it's not, the real money can be used in public circulation, traditionally in the public. But we can use this money to back up the bonds and the things that we're trying to do in the private sector.
Makes sense. Yep. Yes, sir.
Well, it's not really money, though. Can you explain that, Christy?
Ready.
What's not really money? The silver?
Well, no. The silver is real lawful money.
Exactly.
But as far as the amounts attached to and the liabilities and the setting off, you're not handling all of those billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's zeroing out the national debt. That's all that it is.
Right.
I have a
Hey,
question.
hey, Chris. Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Hey, quick question. When we fill out our AMPC, our packet, and then when they ask us, when you guys ask us for our name, I know we're not using that strong man name no more, and I'm using the name my mama named me. Is there a big difference? I know the big difference is how we write it, from capitals to regular from capital to lowercase. But my question is that the fact that I signed up using that same name in lowercase letters, the fact that it's just it looks the same, but it's not the same. Like, is that you get what I'm saying? The fact that I'm trying to become an American national and trying to change my status and try to get away from that social security number and that name. So would you think it's wise for us to continue to use that same name that's on the social, despite that it's in lowercase letters? Should we just put a whole new name that we decide to name ourselves?
You can do that. You can do that if you want. But again, if you create a new name, it's like having twins instead of a single baby. So you got to deal with both of them. Yeah, go ahead, Free Soul.
Double liability. Now he was saying too.
Yeah.
Okay. Double liability.
Yeah.
So
Listen, we've got.
take care of the first name first.
Okay, so listen, we actually have members that had people that came to us and they had two names. They had a national name that they were using and they had their birth name, and there was some couple of them. I think there's 2 or 3 of them now they had gone through a 1099 OID process. They got arrested for it, that kind of stuff way back when. And so what happens is they go after each names individually. So they'll go and somebody serves their sentence. They try to go after the second. Now you get out of jail, then they try to pull you back in on the other name. People just,
oh my God.
Yeah, you really have to, you got to watch out.
So do you think that like I think that is a very important a process when you do change your status, you specify all what do they say? Deviations of that name. So when we do change the status, and put our name, and then we put on top of that every deviations of that name. Just to clarify for any other contracts that we contracted in, just to put that on the record.
Right.
Right? Is that what that's the type of clarity that was?
Well, see, here's the thing. You need to, that's the whole purpose of the perfected title. What the perfected title does is it unlinks you from that straw man and turns the reversionary interest back to the United States Incorporated under the HJR 192 law. In the bankruptcy of 1993, they took away everything from the people, but they had to put a clause in there to allow for us, and that was HJR 192, which says all the debts of these corporate fictions are the responsibility of the United States Inc. So that's what you're doing with the perfected title package, is that you are turning the reversionary interest back to the United States Inc. And technically you're unlinking yourself from that straw man. That's so important. People don't have any idea. First of all,
Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, if this is going way back to the beginning, basically, if you don't own your car, right, and actually have the title, if you're still paying for it, then you can't create a trust and put your car in a trust to get like the international driving permit.
You know what? We have had some people that have done it. Here's how, it's pretty tricky. It kind of depends on the bank. We have had some people that have successfully done it. What they did was they created a simple trust layered under their 98 name trust. And let's say your car, the loan that you took out was in your name. However, they put the name on there. They created a simple trust in that name layered under a foreign grantor trust. And then what they did is they took the paperwork into the bank and just asked them to update it. And some of the banks did, some of them said, no way. So, you know, you have to basically tell them that the trust is now being liable for, you know, the debts or whatever. And I believe the ones that they didn't accept it, they probably didn't bring the bond in with them. I think it's important to show that your trust is bonded, because we've had banks that accept, you know, when you have a loan on a car, they say, oh, you know, you have to, sometimes they specify what insurance you have to have because,
Right.
you know, their car. But we have had banks that accept the bonds and say, oh, yeah, well, you know, it's not just the bond. ANPC does a whole different liability insurance to where they notify the state insurance commissioner or the DMV, and it's different in every state. It's a process you have to find out in every single state. They do it for you. Yes.
Hey, Chris, I have a question real quick. Sorry to cut you off, but since we're talking about trusts and talking about accounts with the banks, when I get my bond and get my 21, when I get my bond, and in order to establish a trust, that has to come through the bank, right? Itself in the first place, right? The EIN and the trust, are we able to put the bond into our trust when we establish the trust with the foreign EIN?
Basically, the way everything's linked together is through a private non-UCC bonded claim later. No, you don't do it in the beginning. The trust gets established, the bond gets established, then you pull everything together under, yes.
After we do the perfected title.
Yeah, yes. Well, you can, it depends on, if you want the treasury bond, you have to complete the perfected title first, because your perfected title documents have to be mailed to the insurance commissioner and those, yeah.
So I see, that's the thing. What I'm saying is that, like, you can say that I'm not saying that it's like JB said on the last conference, nothing is written in stone. So we can't say that this is the right way or this is not the right way. But the way we're responding to these questions and saying, like, oh, this is, you should do it this way or that way. So would you think that in order for us to be perfected 100%, like John was, to when he was able to get pulled over and not have an altercation, like Homegirl did in her altercation, but John specifically said that he had almost everything, in order for him not to have any altercations. So he actually went through the whole procedure.
Well, John said he had everything bonded.
Yeah, he had everything bonded.
As if to what he was doing.
That's making so much sense now to why John has so much success, other than the people that are driving with these tags.
Okay. So John, if I recall right, I think John first of all got the 98 trust. Or first of all, of course, he got the ID and the IDP. He got the 98 trust, and then he layered the 82 car trust. I think it's an 83 now. They change the numbers frequently, but he layered the car trust under that, put all his cars into it, so that they're secure. Now you can't, some people say, well, why can't I just put the car directly in the 98? The DMVs will not let that. The reason you have to get another trust layered under it is so that they can't tell that you're moving it to a foreign jurisdiction. If they knew it, they would never do this. So what you have to do is you sneak in there with opening up the trust under the master trust that is established in another country. Now, I'll just tell you, for those of you that might not have been on one of the other times, there was a lady in California that she had it done this way. And when you do it this way, now you have the option. You don't have to use American national car tags. Okay, so a lot of us have family where the spouse does, they don't want to be an American national, or one of the children doesn't want to, and they're going to use your car. See, you have to be really careful about that. Now, what you do is when you put it into this trust, it actually gets titled. The title comes back to you in the name of the trust. And if you do the bonded non-UCC claim at the same time, you can have the master trust or the foreign trust put a non-UCC lien on that, and you take that in right at the same time, and it will come back. Like my title comes back and it says the name of my simple trust, and then on the bottom it says lien holder, and the lien holder is my 98 trust. It's right on the face of it. There's nowhere anybody could go with that thing because it's double bond. I mean, it's bonded, it's liened, I've got layers on that thing, so nobody could touch it. So John has all that done just like that. So he's got the trust, he's got the bonded claims, he's got, and when you do the bonded claims, be sure you separate out the public and private. So we've got birth certificate bonded claims to where you can bond the birth certificates and put a lien on them, and then come in, because you've perfected the title already. Now you're saying that, you're not tied to this anymore. You're leaning that, but don't mix your private stuff on that one, because if somebody looks at it, you don't want those mixed. Like your children, bond them on that, everything like that. Then if you do your car and you're doing it in the private trust, that's the one where you're going to come in and you're going to list your trust. You're going to list your car, the VIN number, the make, the model. You're going to list your private ID card, your private IDP. You're going to list, if you have a World Service passport, you can list it on there. That's the one that you're going to do all your private stuff. Just be sure you keep the private in one and the public in another, because you just don't want to mix the two on those claims. So, that's something pretty important. Your land, that's kind of a toss-up. A lot of people do a third one just for their land, just because they don't want to mix anything. They want the land to be specific. There's a few that want their land to be on the private one. The only thing is if you're traveling and you get pulled over by an officer, what do you want him to see when he looks at that? He's gonna be able to pull up that non-UCC bonded claim pretty quickly on his computer. Do you want him to see some land that they might have in your strawman name to where he can link it? You need to think ahead of all these things. Look ahead. What do I want him to see? Some people actually do come in and change their name, totally take on a whole new, and never use the other one again. And you can do that. You can deed your property into a trust. It's however far you want to go and what you want to do. You can do a name change. You can, go through ANPC and you start out getting a 98 trust in the new name that you want to take on. Okay,
hey,
yes.
Okay, all right. Since we're over here, what time is it now? It's going on 7 o'clock. We 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 hours in, and now we're talking about bonds. I have a question about the bonds. Like, how are we able to utilize those bonds once we're fully private? Is there like a specific procedure on how to utilize them or how to monetize?
Well, you know what? That's a no-no subject for you. You're not far enough in, so be quiet.
Makes sense.
I have a question about the 82 trust.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have my EIN for my 82, and you know, I have my my 98. Do I have to have additional paperwork as far as the certificate of trust for the 82 and give it to the bank that has my 98, or will I have to recreate another trust account?
Is your 82 in a different name than the loan was in?
Well, this car I own it. I'm going to actually transfer this particular vehicle into the trust. I have 2 vehicles. One I'm actually financing, the other one that I own. The one that I own, I already have an 82 trust set up for it.
Okay.
So I have the title in my hand. I just have to get it transferred into it. But my question was, do I have to get another bank account for the 82?
No.
Okay.
No, you just follow, you should have got instructions on how to do it. Just follow those instructions. It's pretty simple. If you take all the correct paperwork, make sure that you have if you got liability, you can take your liability card that you get from ANPC up there with you. It's really pretty simple. It's not that complicated if you own that one, to just slip it into a trust, and you know, they don't realize what you're doing. So back to what I was saying earlier, the lady in California, she went and did this, and she was using a California tag, and a police officer came up behind her and pulled her over, and she had been in so much trouble with the police for not using a commercial driver's license prior to that. And so she was really scared, and she noticed when the police officer got out of his car, he's sitting there just laughing and laughing. And she thought, oh no, what's, some crazy guy, what's going on with him? And he's coming up to her window, and he's just laughing. And he says, ma'am, he said, you didn't do anything wrong. I just had to stop you to ask you how you did this with your car. And she acted stupid. She's like, huh? What are you talking about? He goes, well, when I was sitting at the corner when you went by, and I ran your tag, and it showed that your car is in England. And he said, how on earth did you do this? Well, see, so what you do is you slip it in with a simple trust so that, they can't tell, because if they knew it was going outside their jurisdiction, they would never title it like what we get it done.
And ANPC helps us get all that done, huh?
Yes, we do all the paperwork, everything, all the instructions. And some of you guys that have already got it, you can tell people how it works or what it is, what you get. Some of you that already have that, people like to hear from ones that have already got it.
Hey, Chris, Razor said before, as soon as we establish the 98, basically walk off your job. I mean, get away from the contracts that you guys are working for right now, right? As soon as, because they won't give us a 98 for an EIN while we're working, right?
No. Oh, yes.
It doesn't make sense.
Yes, you can.
It doesn't make sense for us to keep working with the social while we're over here
we was talking about issues when people was asking about, concerned about already being contracted with an employer. Can they switch and go back and hand them the 98 number after they already contracted with the social? We said that's nearly impossible after they already
No, not continue work, not continue. Well, what I'm saying is, as soon as we get that 98 number, say bye-bye to what we was dealing with in the public side.
You can do that whenever. This is the thing. It's the reality of the matter. Once you declare your independence, you have to be prepared to walk that life of independence, meaning
yes, sir,
business or whatever you're gonna do, to make whatever type of monies need to be made to survive.
Okay, but that's the thing. So I'm not forced to give up my right to contract with this company for me to work and get these benefits from this company, which is a paycheck, right? Since I'm not obligated, they don't have a right to abridge my right to contract, right? So I should be able to still work. I'm not saying that I should.
Oh yeah, yes, of course. Please still work. Yes, please. Don't go sit under the tree in California there. Go work.
Of course.
Oh my, go work, man.
I was already thinking about cultivation, all about growing the herbal, the leaves from the Lord our God, and going into that route because it's all legal where I come from. And if there's a monetary value of God's herbs, which we can grow as a farmer and go back to the farming cultivation aspect, why don't we go that route? And that's just what I was thinking on how to stay afloat and how to put.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you're in California, you have access to that, to growing hemp. Have you looked into growing hemp? Not marijuana. No, hemp. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So the demand for hemp for denim jeans alone is just huge, and all the hemp growers that are making denim, they have to bring it in from other countries for these hemp jeans, and so yeah, you're right on that. Keep working.
Why don't we start an American National hemp organization that's making money for everybody?
Why don't you kick it off?
And then I'm actually.
If that's what your passion and desire is for, go for it.
Come on, brother.
Go for it.
Let's do it. Let's make moves. And which we are gonna make moves.
Because this is the thing. We need to establish avenues and options operating in the private.
Exactly.
So we're already outnumbered. We already. Come on. We it's like we're starting from ground level. We just now making a float. Like, so we need a lot of things. Just like we discussed in the last meeting. We need airports, we need banks, we need schooling, we need all type of stuff, So it takes certain people to recognize these voids that need to be filled, to step up and do what needs to be done so we can establish.
Yes, sir. As a whole, though.
As a whole. We can't do it in yeah.
We can't do it as an individual. So like you said, if we're moving as an American national or a union, the union now, we have to think like a union. Because I work for a union and union is family. So when I learned how to make money, I should be able to teach this to Extra Light, to Andriana Grant, to JB, to Vincent on how to, because they probably don't know how to sell ice to an Eskimo, how to sell candy to the candy. They don't know how to do them certain things like how we was born to do. But maybe they need that help from the AMPC family. We have certain gifts that the good Lord gave us. Like so, he looking over there, looking in here, like, man, we can make some serious moves. I'm looking at him like, man, he's very knowledgeable. He's very educated. He taught me some things I never thought of thinking about. But as a family and union aspect, I really think we should to cut ties with some of these people that we don't trust, or to make it smaller, and then we can grow as a whole. Just like you said, we can quit all of our jobs and put all into the trucks, and then we all eat. We can all eat as a family. Mm-hmm. White flag.
So Hellraiser, my question is how are we going to get on our own private, like our platform, like it's going to be similar to Facebook? How soon can we get on there? That is just awesome. I'm so excited.
Me too. I'm excited.
So let me share the screen real quick.
Oh, I can't wait. Let me in. Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Can I see the screen?
Yeah.
So me Panu, this is the Private American National Union. Now, a brief walkthrough. So this is the home page. We have the main activity. So this activity timeline. Everybody's familiar with a timeline based on Facebook and stuff like that. So this is all things that I've been sharing, different articles. You see, me and Natara are friends now, and and then see Atara is going to the Private American National Conference. You see, because I posted it inside of the network as well. So this is the timeline to show the whole network activity where everybody's doing. So now we go to members. We click on members. Then you can see which members are. We see we got Free Soul right here. You can click on them, see where his location is. We can add him as a friend. We can send him a direct message. Okay, I want to add Free Soul as a friend. I want to send him a message real quick. Go subject. And he just got the notification in his phone. You can add the priority high.
Yes, sir.
You see what I mean? So now I'm gonna send him a message. Message sent.
Hey, that looks like the Hellraiser platform.
Except just for us as American nationals. Now,
Yes, sir.
now I go to my page. Now you can customize your page, change your banner. I see I got my little owl right here. That's mine. You can click on options. You can edit your profile. You can make a feature, upload, rotate, delete, upload cover photo. Now here goes my personal, activity feeds, my comment wall, my photos right here. These are the photos I uploaded. I'm uploading a lot of trust information, trust law and common law information. My videos, let me see what's in the videos. So here's one I put up about land trust. Let's go to videos, the network videos. So you see I have land trust, how to create a NFA trust for setting up a gun trust. A lot of trust information, a lot of things we do dealing with trust. Articles, right up under articles, you see a drop down to also have form and polls. Now articles right here, like 5 elements of a surety bond contract. Click on that.
Sitting too long is dangerous for your health. We better get off our rears. We're sitting too long. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah.
Exactly. So we got the form right there. And then we have a poll, like here go a poll right here. Now everybody has the power and to create their own content. We encourage everybody to upload content that they feel is relevant. This is the starting phase of what type of content will be beneficial to the community. Like I said, anything involving trust, anything involving equity, anything of that nature is what's relevant to what we're doing. So here goes a demo poll. What would you like to see in our weekly mail? Because everybody be getting weekly mail. You can give your opinion or suggestions and submit it right there through the poll. News, okay, events. Let's go to events. Events is today. Right now, we have Private American National Conference. Click on that. Okay, there goes the link right there. Going, so on and so forth. Now, fun and health. Chris encouraged me to add this because she believed, that fun is something we need to learn how to have, and as well as health, because everything is connected to the mind, body, and soul. So we've also added this as well. So we have fun and health. We have mind and spirit and financial inspiration. All these things are major elements that we need to be able to operate independently. So we have articles related to having fun, moringa power, health benefits of spirulina, 10 benefits of alkaline water, the truth about alcohol, just decalcifying the pineal gland, different things. The laughter is good for your brain. Chris will send me over that. Then we go over to mind and spirit. We have.
I didn't see the cheese challenge. Where's your cheese challenge?
Hey Chris. Hey Rachel.
So Chris gave me a personal cheese challenge. I had to stand in the mirror and smile for 5 minutes straight.
Oh my God. Hey Razor, real quick, bro. Hey Razor, real quick, bro. I looked inside the chat. It said that if you don't write your name on the application, last name first, that you're not gonna accept it or it's gonna have some problems.
What application?
The initial AMPC application. Somebody was writing in the chat. They said, make sure you sign your last name first on AMPC ID because they will not have it on the forms unless they have it updated already. And that came from Adris Love.
No, that's not an issue. That's her opinion, but people have the right to put their name how they want. Some prefer to have their names lowercase with first name dash middle name.
The way the government writes our names in legal fiction?
No, some people like to use the dashes and the semicolons instead. And again, yeah, you can put your last name first. However, but some people are very opinionated on that they prefer to have their names with the dashes and things like that. So we're not going to tell you that you have to put your name a certain way, because either one works just fine on the IDs. It's just what you.
No,
That's
what you
good.
that's
prefer.
incorrect.
Exactly.
Can you hear
It
me?
goes back to what you say you are.
That's
Yeah.
incorrect.
Makes sense.
Y'all hear
Makes
me?
sense. Thank you.
Because that's not correct. I got the last name is first on the ID. So that should be the way we sign it.
On the AMPT ID?
Yes. It should be. I mean, all you have to do is put in there that you should sign your last name first, because that's how the ID gonna come. The ID gonna come with your last name first.
No, it's not. That's all about how you do your.
No, that's not true, young man. I got my ID with my last name first. Now, had y'all told me to sign it like that, I would have. That was my issue.
What we're saying, if
So
you have the option to, if you say, hey, I want my name.
No. Hold on. I signed it the way the example showed me. The example you have for the application says John Doe, whatever that name was. So I signed it John Doe. Now, I did look over the blueprint of it when you send an email and you look at it, but you don't pay attention to that it's Smith, the last name first.
Right.
So when I got the ID, I say, oh, dang, I signed it normally, like first name, last name, like we normally do. But all you have to do is put it there to say, put last name first so it can match your ID. That's my ID.
This is my question.
I'm
You
looking
guys-
at my ID right now, and my last name is not in front.
This is my question. What's the problem? That's what I want to know.
No, I wanted my ID to be perfect the way that you sent it to me. They sent it to me with my last name first.
My last name first. What's the problem?
Yeah, but I signed it my first name first, Adrice Smith, like I normally do. But you guys sent it as
Sent it back, last name first.
right. That's all I'm saying.
That's all.
Somebody can
Is it an issue?
people on the call. If somebody tell you what's the problem?
No
I
problem.
said what the problem was. I'm telling the no, look, it's all right. I just want the next people to, if they get an ID like mine says Smith, my last name first. So y'all's don't look like that.
Yes.
I didn't sign it like that. I wish you had told me in the example, the example that you guys sent was first name last. It wasn't last name first.
What I'm saying is you're expressing it as if it's a problem. Like, what's the problem? What problem are you having with that?
Well, you're used to perfection. I mean,
Well,
you know,
What's imperfect about it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's
it's
imperfect?
not matching the way that it's supposed to be as last name. Because I'm used to looking at the doggone Illinois driver license. It's perfect.
Can I interject?
You know what I'm saying? What?
Can I interject, please?
Go ahead.
It's only you still doing it right, sweetheart. The legal way to sign your name is last name first.
Right.
first name
I did.
last. But you can still sign in the manner that you signed for. It don't matter. It's just they just saying once you do your that ID, it don't matter.
Okay.
Because it's
But
all
I
right.
just want the rest of y'all to know, when you guys do your ID, do it last name first, because this is how your ID is going to come. It's going to come last name first. That's all I'm saying. That's all. Thank you, mama. Okay?
Thank you, mama. Thank you, mama.
That's all. That's that little Virgo in me. I'm a little meticulous about a few things. I just want the rest of y'all to, have a uniform ID. You right? I don't know.
That's
Okay.
true. That's true. We all want good understanding and clarification.
Yeah, overstanding, yeah.
Overstanding,
All
understanding.
right, yeah. Okay, I'm gone.
All right. Okay. I mean, we can utilize this time we meet to address whatever issues y'all have. You know.
Okay.
We can spend a whole 3 hours talking about that ID.
Nice, man.
We can burn it out. Let's go. Let's talk.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that have a lot of questions on what to do next, and people are like kind of scared to open up their mics and ask questions.
I have a question.
All right.
Hello?
Yep.
Hi. This is Noble James. All right, I got kicked off the call earlier, but I only been on since about 9 because I've been working. But long story short, getting to the question, I wanted to get on to find out more about the world passport because I'm originally from the Bahamas and I have the IDP and the American National ID and the trust and all that set up and other instruments and things like that. So I've been with ANPC for about 3 years or so, and my issue is that I lost my. Actually, it was stolen. My passport was stolen from I was born in the Bahamas, so my passport was stolen. I'm also American national. I'm also Moorish American, and because I'm Moorish American, I nationalized, which allowed me to kind of opt out of my green card. But the problem is getting the world passport. I've heard some issues. You know, I want to travel back home. I've heard issues about if I get the world passport, they may allow me to leave, but I may not be able to come back. And that's a problem because I have a life or here and a business and so forth and so on. And not that I don't want to go back home to live because the Bahamas is beautiful, but I want to be able to travel freely and, you know, practice my unalienable and substantive rights secured by the Constitution and so forth and so on. And you know, by the rights secured by the United Nations due to indigenous people and so forth and so on. So my point being is, I'm trying to see if I can either get my passport from my country using a declaration with my name that I corrected or changed. Or get the world passport and have it authenticated or in conjunction with my American National ID or with a UCC or non-UCC so that I can travel unencumbered and not having to fear whether I'm going to get kicked out or, you know, or not being able to return. I'm sorry, I know that was a mouthful. I hope someone could sort through all that and give me a clear answer.
You need to look at the last conference because it covers the world passport.
How can I get access to that? Is there
Go on YouTube to Hellraiser, the Hellraiser Legacy on YouTube, and he has all the conference calls on his channel.
To go on Hellraiser. I'm sorry, some of that got cut out a little bit. Go on Hell.
Yeah, Hellraiser Legacy on YouTube. Just type it in on YouTube and you'll find this information.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Hellraiser. Appreciate that.
Unless you want to type in your
I got
email.
cut out. I got cut out. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
So look. So go back as far as the world passport. Go back. You got to go back to episode 4 where we talked about that. We had David on the line discussing the world passport and the pros and cons with the uses of that. Now, there's a void in the system as it comes to that, meaning that we don't have our own passports as American nationals just yet. So that's another process that's in the process of being worked out. So, but if I was you, I would go back to the Bahamas to get a passport as well.
What I'm saying,
Take advantage of being off soil.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's actually what I'm in the process of doing. I'm going to try to get them both. I have the right to get what is called a Bahamian passport because I am a Bahamian native. But what I'm trying to say is my dilemma is because I corrected or changed the name due to being Moorish American and taking control of the straw man. By me doing that, I'm trying to see if they will accept a certified declaration of status and a certified declaration of name correction that's been done through the court. Like if I take that to the Bahamas embassy or consulate to see if they will put that name on my passport. If they put that name on my passport, then I will have been successful with what I'm trying to do. And I think if I'm able to do that, I think that is also an example to follow with those of us who have foreign trusts in various countries. We can therefore go to those foreign countries and get foreign passports and travel that way as well.
Yep, absolutely. You have to share your experience with that.
Well, I'm gonna try it in the next 40 days. And I'll when I'm allowed back on the conference again, I'll let you guys know how it worked out.
Definitely, absolutely. But yeah, that's definitely something that's we're dealing with right now to try to definitely come up with a form of American national passport. But until then, we got to be creative and always weigh your options.
One last thing. I apologize. I don't want to overspeak my time, but one last thing. I have met someone who has what they call an American national passport, where I guess where it's not a U.S. citizen passport, it's like a green passport. I think they got it using a non-UC method. I don't know if they used the Patrick Devine method or which method they used, but they were able to get it. But I know they make it very hard for you to get that. And I think in conversation with Christy told me that has to be a 5-star passport. So I don't know if that person has a 5-star or a 4-star or what, but I know that they've given them out before, whether they're still giving them or not. That passport pretty much, I think, makes you diplomatic, and I think that's one of the reasons why they try not to give it to you.
Yeah, I can bet on that, definitely. You know, if you can get a hold of that process, let us know. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I yield.
Yep.
So any more questions? Not about bonds and.
Hey, when we gonna meet up? When we gonna meet up at the hotel? I'm ready to come through.
Well, my crew, we going to Vegas, so we're going to Vegas soon. So.
Shit, my
meet up.
Is that crew or is that the Hellraiser crew? What crew is that?
We'll talk about it offline.
I'll wait for the email then. I'll wait for the email.
The crew got that number.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I'm coming up the back way. Hey, I'm saying, boy, hey, you're gonna have to go up in these courts. You gotta go to these courts, boy.
Yeah, you've been clowning dealing with that foreclosure, right?
Hey man, I'm actually having
How's
fun.
that going?
I mean, it's cool. Shoot,
How's that going?
it's cool. I'm waiting on a judge right now to do a TRU just to stop the trustee sale on June 5th. It's just a matter of it all boils down to standard. You know, they used to do the note thing. It ain't the note, it's the questions you ask and the stuff they have to present. Whoever foreclosing you, they got to have standing to foreclose on you, period. So if you address these issues, you know, like you're supposed to, you know, in an honorable way, yeah, period. You just question. You subpoena them to come,
Yes, sir.
subpoena Deuce to check them for the information. Normally they won't show up, so you got to move to court. When you're in there as a plaintiff, it's like they in there on your side versus you're a defendant.
That's right. It's crazy. It sounds like you baiting them into their own default.
Yeah, that's all. You just prove the fraud. It's all fraudulent.
That's what it says. Like, nigga, I'm gonna snitch your ass the fuck out. Is my language.
Point blank period. Especially if you come alive. One who fails to assert their rights has none.
Hey, JP, so as of right now, you don't have no bonds attached to anything right now, right?
Nah. Hey, what's tight is when you go in as a plaintiff, once the judge signs off on the lawsuit, they give you a $10 bond.
They give you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to go into court and see how they work. They give you a bond. Everybody got to be bonded.
Do they talk about this in the federal proceedings and the civil lawsuit?
I ain't in federal. I ain't in federal. I'm in a state court. This is about equity.
Okay.
It's not a constitutional challenge.
Okay. But it's good to know
You just
both
gotta-
sides.
Yeah, you got to know where to go. The higher courts are for constitutional challenge. That's for law. The lower courts are magistrate tribunals. They charters.
When I go and stand in front of the black robe, no matter what type of court it is, am I always standing as a free American national?
What was he at?
Natural man.
Yeah, I mean, how long was that?
No matter what court I'm
Somebody
standing
might
in
come.
front of.
Well, yeah, per se, you still got to know who you are when you go in as a plaintiff. It puts you on a different platform. You're not going in there answering questions. You're going in there for somebody else to answer your question.
Our AMPC, when we go walking in there as an AMPC freeholder, bond holder, are we walking there as a motherfucking plaintiff, or are we walking there as the settler?
Nah, see, if you was defending, then you would use that bond in the private to offset the charge or the case.
Are we entitled to defend that name, or are we not entitled to defend the name that's not ours? What are we there in the first place? Because if we're all becoming American nationals and everybody's getting brought judgments to these names that we were still accountable for before we change our status. But as soon as we change our status, they hit us with these judgments. So if we don't have our freeholders bonds, we are not able to make these drastic moves to protect ourselves. Is that what you're saying?
You can. You just got to know the law. If you don't know the law, then you want to bind. Because remember, you're a creditor, so you don't want to go in there arguing about no charges. You just want to settle the case.
Right. It all goes back to the wordplay and then what you have on the record.
Yeah, your paperwork procedure.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Paperwork, what you put on the record with the clerk. Because from my understanding, from the last time you spoke, you taught us what I learned from you. You told us whatever we put on the record with the court, that's what we're gonna be referring to. Is to whatever Exhibit A, Exhibit B. But in order, the reason why a lot of us go into default is because we don't have the proper shit on file with the clerk. There's nothing to turn to. We didn't put shit on the record, so how can we turn back? Our words don't mean shit, but what we put on the record.
Question. Can we put something on the record? Wait a minute, you laughing. I'm sorry. But look, can we put that on the record? I don't have no cases. I know who I am.
Yeah, it's so you do it at the count. You do it at your count.
At the county.
Yeah, you have to put that on paper. They don't care, you know.
Mail it, register mail or certified mail. Just put that stuff out there, right?
Just let them know. Right?
Well, you got to know who you're noticing, because if you're not noticing the correct person, it don't matter who you send these notices to.
Okay.
You have to know who you're noticing. I think that's just one of the biggest problems where we're, you know, kind of go off. You don't know.
That's true, because a lot of us don't know that specific detail.
So just notice every motherfucking body, right?
I did like 15 of them. Okay. You do the heads of your state. Because remember, everybody's state is their own territory. So you have to do your state. Get your state constitution and figure out your state.
Yes, I done got into the Constitution, y'all.
Yeah,
I like that part where it says Cook County, everything, all us was registered through the county. So that's the start.
Exactly.
Hey, JP, but ultimately, because remember, we're all in this conference because American National process in the first place. So let's the reason, like all these questions that we're having, and it's making so much sense.
Brother.
The reason why, can you hear me now, brother? It does break us up. They cracking on my shit.
Yeah, I got you.
But what I'm saying is that the reason why we're having all these problems is because we're not AMPC fully. We don't have the full credential.
Exactly. And really,
especially go ahead.
AMPC. See, AMPC is good because that's the middleman. That's the connection people are missing with the middleman. You want to write these bonds, but you have to have an asset attached to them, and you have to have somebody underwriting that attachment. They skipping steps. They want to go straight to monetization, but you got to have somebody to underwrite that instrument so it can have value. And that's where AMPC comes in at. See, they got the game on the paperwork. You get the silver, then you follow their steps with the paperwork. Let's take you out that jurisdiction.
Okay.
A document. Go ahead.
Bro, you said, all right, so I'm glad you said that. Because I'm gonna go back to a question that I just
You start breaking up, boss.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Now I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. So you brought up a question that I'm gonna go from the chat room, because you brought up the whole benefit of having a organized third party or a nation, whatever you want to refer to it as opposed to being a so-called holder, independent person all by yourself on the land against the whole United States corporation. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is somebody asked the question, said, well, and I've seen this question lingering around even in the Hellraiser Legacy. And this is the problem. Chris said this. It's like we do these conferences and we have individuals that just want to see what the H we're doing. And then what happens is, okay, all I gotta do is go get a silver bond, do something. And then it's like all they want to do is hear what our process is, and then they feel like, oh, I could just go do it myself. Why I need this? Why I need that? Okay, go ahead. If that's what you want to do, go ahead. But guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna run, jump, and hurdle and sprint to a complete dead end, and then guess where you're gonna be back in. And by that time, since we already always progressing, we already further down the road. So what we said today, it might still apply, but it might be additional processes within the process, because we're not standing still. So if you fall out the loop for a month, you could damn near get far enough behind schedule to really fall into a crack in the road. Everybody has to stay in the game. Just like if we on the same team on the court. If we're not in the game in the huddle, to go over the blueprints, you know what I'm saying, the formulas to play, not going to practice, what's going to happen? You're going to drop the ball, fumble, and travel. It's like people want to really, like, you know what? Actually, the people that have the most problems and questions, they never come on the conference call. That'd be the funniest thing in the world to me. Never come on the conference call. When they are on the conference call, they're like, oh, I was on there. Never said a word, though. You know, so it goes back to, it's like a question that it's a yes and a no answer. It's like, well, technically, nothing stops you from doing the concept of what we're saying. Nothing stops you from getting 21 pieces of silver and putting together a bond from the redemption manual or wherever you got it from, and going down doing whatever. You can do that. Nobody said you couldn't. I don't want to stop you. Nobody wants to stop you. But don't contradict yourself by trying to come back up in here and be like, getting mad because something ain't going wrong. You guys need to help me. No, we're not gonna help you. It's like we working over here. We look around. We know who's involved in that. You know, and who just shows up. You know, so we are dedicating ourselves, our time, our energy, and our spirit to making sure that we're solid too, that we know it's on the floor working hard with us to perfect things. We can't help everybody else that choose. They won't admit it now one time that they not really on the court full time. But they need to have the biggest complaints. Oh, it's bombs over Baghdad. They shutting it down. No, they not. No, they not. We shutting them down. We shutting them down. Let's stop lying to ourselves and each other, man. We gotta
Okay.
be in or not. We gotta be in or not.
We gotta trust each other as a family, though. Real shit.
All right.
Real shit.
All right, Hellraiser. I have a question there. I did the AMP process, the press course, got my ID and all that. Now, do you need to be a secure party to move on with everything that's going on in AMPC?
Hell no.
Nah.
This nigga said secure party. Hey, bro, go watch the last conference call, bro.
Nah. Okay, so I mean, I'm gonna give him a break because he's fresh in. Okay. I'm gonna tell you a secret on why I do certain things. Like for those that follow me on Facebook and stuff like that, and they see other promos I do, or even on YouTube, they'll see I'll say the SPC and American National Conference. I do that because I know the majority's attention is on the traditional secure party candidate process. But what we're doing is actually within the same realm and concept of those things, except in the private aspect.
Okay.
So that's pretty much like we just threw a bone out there, just, you know what I'm saying? Because if we would have said American National Conference, you would have been like, oh, that don't apply to me, right?
You threw SPC in it, and then he jumped on.
Yeah, because in all actuality, the concepts are similar. It's just the processes are different. The verbiage is different. The language is different.
Hey, Razor, when we gonna get to a point? My bad. When we gonna get to the point to when we're gonna I know there will be a day when we're gonna be closing off the doors and shit. But we welcoming everybody in like as a whole, the way we're moving right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is the answer to that. In a way, okay, there are many doors, right?
Right.
Right now, this is the front door of the church. The door of the church is open. You see what I mean? Anybody can come in and go. We welcome everybody in the world that believes in world peace, human rights, and the whole 9 yards. We welcome anybody. So anybody can sit down and praise the utmost highest creator collectively together, no matter what creed, color, shape, nationality, whatever. We breaking a lot of rules on those aspects because we don't deal in those aspects. Everybody's welcome on that basic principle of just genuine love for each other as human beings.
I know it comes to a point.
This is the point. The point is this: when church is over with, and we say, our family brought upstairs, and everybody started going like, whoa, now,
all the families that
services, public service is over. private services upstairs. We let anybody on the ground floor. We have to have an open platform on the ground floor. But depending on how many levels you go up, determines how much work you put in, how much discipline dedication you put into the game. Just like Street Soul says, skin in the game. Now, just because they're on the ground floor don't mean they're getting upstairs. They're not getting upstairs to that often.
Hey, come on now. Come on.
Right here, we're pretty much, what do you call it? This is where we make cuts at. This is where we, you know what I'm saying, go the initial, like, okay. Some people will never leave from that ground floor. That's not because we're stopping.
Hey, check this out. What we're doing right here, Hellraiser, this is exactly what the United States do. At night, when everybody sleeps, that's when laws is being passed. That's when the game plan is being worked out. When the public goes to sleep, private wakes up.
And things get ugly in those conferences when they pass the bills. Y'all just seen that stuff on YouTube. They break out in fights and stuff like that.
Check this out.
The only difference is we're right here online right now. This is our panel. This is it.
I went to Washington. I was under Washington on the underground railroads that they use, where if they push that green light, you got to run from wherever you at in the district to that court so you can vote on the bill. If you don't make it, it don't get passed. That's how they do. They push a green light, them private folks run up under the city, get on them little trains, and go straight to the main spot to pass these bills. Now, on top of that, I've been doing some research. We've been thinking Washington, D.C. is a district, correct? Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Right.
It's not a district, it's a state. Now, check this out. 1987, look up the new Colombian State Constitution. This is where the citizens of the District of Columbia pulled themselves together and formed a state. Look that up.
Wow.
They're ahead of us. It's called the New Columbia State Constitution. Washington, D.C. It's the District of Columbia turned themselves into a state in 1987. I've been on their constitution all day. The governor got the power. They can have powers like we got. They can have freedoms like we got. But you ain't heard none of it.
You said 1987?
Laws and codes. They have their own laws and codes.
1987.
That's how I learned about that. They have their own laws and codes when I was researching case law about different secure parties. I had something to say because I know this is a public forum, and I want to say one thing. I'm very grateful that you're doing this. I'm one of the people that are very diverse. One of the things that was brought to my attention is that you can make your own method, supposedly. Me, myself, like I'm an active learner, so what I do is get information, and I just compare and contrast, and then I go look for case laws. I'm studying the Black Laws Dictionary, language, and things like that. So I hear the tone of the, how it's going here, and it seems like it's all or nothing. You get in or you get out. What happened to people who don't know about this? What about people who want to be independent and have other things going on? Like you said, sometimes when you finish with this, you have to be ready. So what about the people that's not ready, that's still learning? Like, that's what I just want to put out.
Hey, you talking about like me? I'm not ready.
No, I'm talking about like me, myself, because I'm doing things that's
same like you. It's
for.
just like me. I ain't got everything ready down to the T, but just like Hellraiser, and that they always say it over and over. I'm not trying to just vouch for them or anything at all, but I'm learning this process the same rate as you are. So they tell me, hey, stick to the course, stick to the prep course, stick to the process. If you trust the process, then the outcome will become beneficial to you and what you're looking for.
I respect that, but when you say, don't put things together and then one forum, you say put things together because you commit your match. It's like, wait a minute. So now we're going to have a lifetime association with an organization when we're trying to be one being by yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we can't be by
active
ourselves.
learning.
That's two
Can't be
different
by
things.
ourselves.
We're talking
It's a
about two
whole
different things.
union.
What I do independently, spiritually within myself, is between me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
This is all connected. This is all connected with your daily conversations, the people you talk about, what you learn, who you learning from. This is all connected.
But that's family. That goes to the union perspective of the whole concept of us being private. Let's go back to us being a American national, private, American. All of us are supposed to be private as much as we can. So if we're gonna be up here talking about how we're supposed to be doing certain things, Chris told me be quiet. She told me shut up, stop asking them certain questions, because I was over there jumping ahead. I didn't even done my first proper steps, but that just taught me a valuable lesson. But I'm not saying that we shouldn't ask questions to be ahead of the game, because that's what we do. But the fact that we're able to ask these certain questions, if we don't get the certain responses, I mean, if they tell us a response to, hey, stick to the prep course, trust the process. Why am my process working the way yours working? Well,
so at the end of the day,
to be honest, I feel. Go ahead, my bad.
So at the end of the day, and this is being truthful, when you stick to a process, just one process, which is maybe this one, we're going to all be accountable, because that's what I talk about, unity and people standing up together when you know the law, things like that. But when it hits the fan and somebody has to sacrifice their life, their kids, their time, their money, and going in and out of court, it's real.
Right,
That's the reality of it. It's real.
Right.
Yeah,
But do you think that certain people, my bad, Razor, do you think that certain individuals have certain outcomes for situations that they put themselves in or they come across? Like, I can't say that the Razor told me to do this, or Free Soul told me to maybe try it this way. But the fact of the matter is that it depends on how the cop or the person that's bringing that judgment upon ourselves. That's how I'm thinking, that the way I should respond is to how I should critically think, how I should respond to those situations. But I get what you're saying with the family oriented, the fact that we all should be a family and we all should share the same answers and questions and everything, because it's AMPC. We're a union. You should have my back as much as I have your back. And whenever just like our on the third conference call or the fourth conference call, Razor even said it. Whenever one of my AMPC members fail, I feel like I fail, because I can actually be in that predicament one day. So I have to learn and teach myself how to not only secure myself when I get to that specific situation or altercation, but at the same time, I'm gonna help myself and help my brother and sister that's actually going through it. But I get what you mean in order into feeling like, oh, it's a family. It should be more family oriented. And just like Hayward said, we're gonna get more privatized. We're gonna go to the union site. It's just gonna be union members only.
I'm just highlighting the things y'all been saying, with coming in and, being full-fledged. I'm just kind of just rebutting those type of things and just incorporating with reality of, people wanting to stand by themselves, or people wanting to learn a little bit more, maybe learn a little bit more. So that's why I wanted to sum that up to say that it's a good thing that you have a private forum and an open forum. And it's, I just feel like it's some people that feel away because everybody's not like full-fledged. But it's a learning process, because some people are in a situation where they want to convert over and still be able to pull people over. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like all or nothing for everybody. It's it's
actually
that's their personal preference.
Exactly.
I choose. I'm actually choosing to go this route. I'm putting my faith I'm putting faith into the process. I'm putting that I'm trusting my brothers and sisters that are teaching me this process, that hey, maybe I can come out successful if I go and do the work. But these dudes are actually helping us and give us specific they're not telling us to drink the water. They're just kind of leading us to that mother chucker. But,
I mean, this the thing. Everybody chose to be here based on their own free will. That's the thing.
Right.
So if you're here and you want to know what it's about, okay, this is what you have to do to be here and evolve in this direction. Simple as that.
Right.
So that's why we have a platform to help people understand, to get a dialogue, and we have different separations to secure the processes before they become destroyed and all out there on social media, like all these other processes that don't work anymore or backfire.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
I think a lot of people have a lot of sentimental value. Not to speak towards any individuals, but just like me, I thought that the SBC was the right way to go.
We all did.
No, we all did, right? So
yeah, we did.
I dawned upon myself. I came upon my own belief and within my own inner spirit to say, hey, you know what? I think, you know what? SBC is not, you know what? There's a different route to go. I chose that for myself. And then I'm just learning as I go. That's all.
Guess what?
As I go.
I have a question.
What was that?
What's the difference between the SPC and the AMPC?
Hey,
what's the
conference number 4.
Can I answer that?
Please do, because I've watched all the other conferences. Every last one. This is my first time on here, and I did not see that question.
Okay.
I did not see that question.
It's been talked all day.
Hey, I'm gonna answer that, and I'm gonna respond to extra light too, because I know you've been here since the beginning. I always see you. It's not that we're full-fledged. It's just like I always said, you can add on to your process. What they meant by not mixing it with AMPC, that's a trust. All that needs to be together. So you can add your secure party process that you did to that. But what AMPC does is they set you up with the documents and the adequate backing for you to be able to operate and move around. It's not the total end all. It's just for you want to keep those public service from pulling over your car, dragging you in court, basically. So that the APC process would encompass all of that by, you know, getting the trust, getting the foreign trust, get your assets to the trust, take it out to jurisdiction of the United States.
Now, they kind of guide us.
Yeah.
I've seen where people didn't have none of that. And when they got pulled over, they handed the cop, you know, whatever they had, and they were let go. The cop said, "Have a nice day too" to them. So I know they weren't part of the AMPC. I know they weren't a secure party creditor. So that's why I'm saying.
It just depends. It goes back to just depending on how the officer was treating that call. He could have seen that, he probably wasn't an American national, but he had a little bond-ass little paper on the front of his thing, or a fee schedule or something, just to scare the officer out of contracting with that person.
Yeah, because I know somebody that did just a regular UCC, and the cops don't mess with them. We know from doing research that don't actually, you know, solidify or bond you. But if you know your law, and depending on who you're speaking to, you can convince that person that you might know or have more than you do have. But when you use AMPC, it's just ain't no questions. I'm giving you paperwork. You look at the paperwork. If you want to go past that, remember the phrase, one who gives an order has to pay. So if I'm already have my paperwork in place, anything you're asking me for outside of that is an order, and you must pay.
Wow.
So everything can be done in.
And I've also seen people that weren't a secure party creditor, you know, win in court.
Yeah, they knew the law. They probably knew the law. You don't have to be a secure party creditor if you know how to stand on your square. Because the paperwork alone ain't gonna do nothing for you. I mean, regardless if the man wanna put his thumb on you, he gonna put the thumb on. You just want that in place so you can be honorable while you're operating, you know, in their jurisdiction, not being in their jurisdiction, but you're operating within their jurisdiction. You just want to keep yourself safe. Everything is about
So they
bonds.
can hold you
Predators,
accountable, so they can try to link you back to the jurisdiction.
So
I mean, but like some people, you know, do the Mark Stevens thing where you challenge jurisdiction. And I know all those people that won, they weren't secure party creditors or part of the AMPC. All they did was challenge jurisdiction.
okay, well, cool. It's like I don't understand these type of questions because okay, do it then. Oh, it's like do
No, I'm
it.
just asking a question.
Okay,
I mean, you ain't gotta get all. I mean, I'm here to ask questions, and I'm here to respond.
I'd like to say something.
You say you. Hold on one second.
Okay.
You say you watched all, right?
I sure did. I sure did.
So you're asking questions as if you haven't watched those previous conferences.
No, I highly disagree.
You say you don't know the difference between a secure party and American National.
Correct. That's what I said.
What's the last conference about?
I asked that question. Did you explain it? Maybe.
Because I'm just saying, people. Some people make it seem like that you have to be a secure party creditor or an AMPC in order to like.
I never said that.
I didn't say you. Did I say Hellraiser? No, I did not. I said some people.
Okay. So you're trying to
don't put words in my mouth. I said some people make it seem like that you have to be like so you getting an attitude. You know what? Never mind, because you getting an attitude. And how are you going to do conferences and things of that nature when you have attitude and things like that?
Can I say something here? It might simplify things.
That don't make no sense. You get an attitude. Wait, that's not a good host at all to have an attitude.
Hold on a minute, please. Time.
Peace. Can I speak?
I'd like to say something that might simplify this, okay? ANPC, it appears that they know that they are a private association, okay? This is how all of the businesses around the world work. They become private associations, private membership. So that's what you guys are talking about, your membership in the private, and it will not be disclosed in the public.
Thank you.
Okay, now the second point, the initial point that's founded on this is maybe you're not aware that there are two alleged governments. There's a real government, which is the United States of America, which is a republic. It's never not gone away. It is intact. That's where our organic constitution comes into play to hold all of these public agents, entities, liable. They have to be of service to the people. Now, also, there is no second government. The illusion of a second government, which is the uppercase United States,
The trust.
or all of the abbreviated changes that they've added to the true name of the country is upper lowercase the United States of America. That's it, period. There's no deviation. So when all of these, who's doing the breathing or whatever. So whenever you see all of these court or uppercase or the lowercase the, or, you know, the small state or whatever, you know that you're dealing in a corporation. It is de facto. It's an illusion, it's a lie, and they're lying their asses to you to grab you into their illusion jurisdiction, which they have no authority to begin with. So you can always correct it or change it or get out of it. You're not attached to it. But as long as you believe it, you're in it. So just know who your true country is. And then ANPC is a private membership association.
Hey, Razor.
What up?
Yeah. Hey, Razor, we got about like 20 black ass dudes up in our conference call, bro. I can't wait till they're all gone in this.
Can I ask?
to her question about AMPC and just doing it on your own. Now you can do it on your own, and there have been people who do it on their own and have gotten away with not going to jail. But you have to have some type of backup plans if that doesn't work, because not every officer is going to be lenient. That's when AMPC steps in. You want to be a part of an organization that understands paperwork, that understands liens, that understands freedom. Now, you can do the process on your own. Nobody is telling everybody you need to be with AMPC. It's a must. But we choose to be with AMPC because they have credibility, because they understand the process. So you can do your stuff on your own. But why I chose AMPC is because if I get into trouble, I know who can get me out of trouble.
Well, you're putting your full faith into AMPC.
Exactly, because it's an organization that is a truthful organization that knows paperwork. All of that stuff.
And that's why you're saying that, hey, they can get me out of the situation.
Right. You need somebody. You're gonna have, because there's gonna be one day you're gonna get pulled over and you're gonna get pulled by a butthole.
Come on.
And you're not gonna be able to get yourself out. So you need somebody to back you up, and that's when AMPC comes into play. Now, like I said, nobody is telling people to forcefully, you need to be with AMPC. No, we're with AMPC because of the process. They understand the process, and you would want to deal with an organization that's done it for a while and
we trust them.
Right.
We developed the trust.
Well, I tell you like this, I can be doing something better in my life right now. You know, I can be doing anything right now, but I chose to do this. So, and I constantly continue to do this. So I don't get time to force people to understand. If people are not getting it because they're not trying to get it and they're not listening and comprehending what we're trying to say. And I always say the same thing over and over again. I tell people about processes I did before AMPC, doing AMPC. I told people about the driver's license thing, how I got out of the situation before I had any of this AMPC stuff. So it's things that work. It's things that work. When you're teaching people about a whole entire different process, it's safer to not tell them, oh, well, you can use this and do this, do that. And it's best to leave that alone. Just teach them the current process that we're dealing with to avoid them from mixing and matching processes and avoid unnecessary issues. It's like, true enough, you have people that are getting pulled over and gotten let go. But it's also true that more people are getting pulled over on YouTube and getting arrested and getting their cars impounded and stuff like that. It's more of that than successes. And those people are still standing alone. Everybody on this panel has the right to do anything they want to do. But if you want to ask us, if you want to know, if you want the standing that we have and the way we operate, people need to listen to what we're telling them. That's it, and that's all. You can't say you want in and then be like, well, can I just do this or can I just do that? Well, okay, well, yeah, you can. The answer is yes. You can do what you want to do. Are you asking me that, or are you asking me what do we do on this side? I'm trying to figure out what does everybody want here? Everybody's here because they want to know about this. So we're telling them about this. Because there's so much misinformation out there, it's safer to not just mix and match those type of processes in this discussion. That's why I don't entertain them. That's why I don't entertain them, because everybody thinks they apply. And I'm here to tell you guys it don't apply. So if I respond to you a certain way, I'm asking you to shut that part of your brain off so you can understand what I'm telling you. I'm just being very direct so you can understand. That's it. That's all.
It's like the same thing with if you've been brainwashed, the BS that they teach in these schools, and then you go out here and get taught the truth. You can't get mad that somebody is not taking it in real quick because of what they've been taught. That's the same thing with this.
It's still your responsibility to allow yourself to process new information.
I mean,
we're doing our job by even having this panel right here.
I mean, like you said, there is a lot of misinformation, and people on here trying to get the correct information so they can know what to do, what not to do, and how to do it. Exactly.
Okay. Let me ask you.
Hey, can I speak? Hey, Pete.
Hold on one second. I hear what you're saying. My response to you is, are you going to allow me to enlighten you on this or not?
Like I stated before, I have watched every conference. And well, what are you saying? You need to clarify yourself.
You asked the question. I'm trying to give you the answer.
Yeah, hey, Miss Lady, I want to share something with you, right? Me personally, I just ran across Hellraiser, but I've learned about so many different processes, and I learned a lot of this stuff while I was in federal prison. So first and foremost, a lot of that stuff is outdated. So I've been paying attention to YouTube, trying to catch up, trying to get up to speed, trying to get up to date. But a lot of this stuff that the people are putting out is basically the same stuff that I already learned. So I understand the things that you can do, but I don't understand the processes of how you actually do it. Basically stating, the administrative process. So, what Hellraiser is trying to say to you is, it's up to you to do your due diligence. And I get what he's saying about not mixing different processes, because I can speak on so many things that I know you can do, but mixing all of them together, you're going to find yourself commingling, and that's going to lead you into a prison sentence. And the thing is, you have to take your time with this stuff. I have been, enlightened for over a year now, but I got to take my time to go back and correct stuff that I thought I was doing right because I was rushing. And that's what I see a lot of people tend to do. They want to rush because they're not really taking the time to find the true freedom. They're not really looking for true freedom and peace. They're looking for how to get these quick rich schemes, or how to pay for this, or how to get out of this case, or how to get out of that debt. But right now, I'm on federal probation, and I know it's a way that you can, get rid of this shit. When I signed my name on the contract, because I was already aware of it, the probation officer, he's asking me what type of sovereignty group you with, and I know how you guys feel about, the government and stuff like that. But after we spoke and I explained to him, look, I don't have no issues with no government. I'm not no radical individual. I just understand that there's ways of operating both inside and outside of the government. And right now, I have no problems with this man. But I'm using that example to say, why the hell am I going to report, and why am I doing all of this and that when I understand that I am a free person? So my thing is, it's not about rushing so much. A person that tell me I'm a damn fool to keep going down here to this probation place. But my thing is, I want to make sure I'm doing it correct. I'm moving right. I'm not out here doing anything illegal. I'm not doing anything that'll lead to a so-called violation. So I don't give a damn what these probation officers think. But, again, I'm using that as an example to say, take your time, man. Like Hellraiser said, if you want to learn the process, he's here to help you. It's so much stuff on YouTube. The Moorish this, this brother that, that sister that. But again, when you get to mixing all that stuff up, it confuses you. And due to the fact that you can't really reach out to these same individuals who you're listening to, that's why you bring your issues to a guy like Hellraiser. And Hellraiser, I commend you, brother, for putting up with me and other individuals who do find ourselves lost with this process, because it is a lot of information out there. And like I said, I've learned this stuff when I was in prison. I really had a banker teaching me this stuff. He was getting documents back and forth from the courts. He was locked up because his wife didn't know the way he was operating. So she filed the taxes for his business, and they arrested him for over $30 million in taxes. But he was showing me the way in which he was going back, perfecting it to actually discharge it through the bankruptcy process. Wow. And, I maybe shouldn't be speaking on that, because again, that opened up a whole nother door. So again, I know a lot of stuff that you can do, but I don't know how to do it. And a lot of it is outdated. I've been learned about diplomatic status and a lot of that stuff. And I heard that's what you guys were just speaking on. You know, you were saying maybe we should find a way to do that. But, you know, everything come in steps, you know.
I just
So
want to say
again, man, to the young lady, man, just take your time, man, and study.
thank you. And that's what we
I have one thing to say, and I got to go here, Razor, because I'm at work. I want everybody to know that some people may want to do it their way because it may be cheaper, but we all have to have this same mind frame that freedom is not free. It costs to contract, and it's going to cost to uncontract. So we need to get that in our head that you're going to have to spend some type of money to uncontract, because when we contract every day, we giving up Federal Reserve notes.
Come on, sister.
For myself, I just want to just say, for me, it's not about money. It's about actually having an understanding of what I'm doing. So when I invest in education and not for people to do it for me. But if it is somebody that can support me in the process, that's fantastic. And organizations are good, but as we all came in this to be free, we wanted to be free from all organizations. So
But
I
that's
just
the
want to
thing,
put that
you're
out
not
there.
getting
And Mr. Lakes, you said everything in perfection because you felt that. You felt that in federal prison. You felt
Right.
that. That's why I want you to stress the fact that it's good to take your time. It's good to move and know where you're at and how to apply it. And I'll just mute my mic.
I just want to thank you, Hellraiser, for not leaving me behind. I'm just starting out, you know, with my family. So, you know, I got a lot on my plate already. I'm having to work a lot, so it's hard for me to study on the side too. You know, I'm not trying to give you guys a song and dance, but I appreciate you guys not leaving me behind. You know.
Excuse me, brother. You mind if I say a few words before the sister goes? All right, thanks. This is Noble James again. And as a member of ANPC, I'm a part of several organizations, but as a member of ANPC, I've had experiences where the police tried to arrest me, and I showed them my my IDP and my American National card, which is also a do not detain card. And I also have, I mentioned earlier, I'm Moorish American, so I have a diplomatic card. And I showed that to them too. And it was a misunderstanding with the neighbors. I was new to the neighborhood. No one ever really introduced themselves to me, and I didn't need to introduce myself to them. And so long story short, they started questioning me once I realized, you know, they were looking for me instead of someone else, because they kept going up and down a one-way street several times in the wrong direction. And then they shined the light on me. I said, "Officer, you know, is there a problem?" And he's like, "Well, do you live here?" And, you know, I said, "Yeah." At first, you know, I answered him the question. Then when I realized he was singling out me for a problem, and he got into questioning me, he said, "Well, do you have proof that you live here at this address?" I said, "Yeah." I showed him the proof, but he still wasn't convinced. And it was two officers. So then they went into questioning me. You know, they wanted state ID and all this stuff. I said, "I gave you my identification. That is my ID." And he's like, well, you don't have no state ID or social security number, none of that. I said, "No, I don't." And although I did, I just don't use it no more. And he's like, "You one of them sovereign citizens." I said, "Nope, I am not a sovereign citizen." I said, "That's an oxymoron. You cannot be a sovereign being and a sovereign citizen at the same time. Because one is sovereign, the other one is a servant." So then I also told him, I said, "Look," I said, "Why are you guys trying to arrest me?" They said, "We're not trying to arrest you. If we were, we would have put you in handcuffs already." I said, "You and I both know arrest don't mean that." I said, "You stopped me from what I was doing and you holding me up." I said, "Yeah, there's a fee schedule attached with my ID. And every minute you hold me, you're going to be charged for it if this continues." So, you know, everything I did, they kind of like counterparted it. And I was getting frustrated. So I said, you know, I said, let's put an end to this, because I said, we're not getting nowhere. And, you know, I see this is escalating. I said, first of all, I'm not in your jurisdiction. I said, I think you should call your supervisor because your supervisor could probably understand the depth of the situation a little better. So they called their supervisor. When the supervisor came, I explained to her, I said, look, your officers are really harassing me, and I've been complying with them since they got here. And she said, you know, we're just here to follow the law. We was alerted of a disturbance and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we want to make sure that you're not breaking any laws and so forth. And she was a sergeant. So I said, Sergeant, you and I both know that you're not here to enforce any laws. You're here to enforce codes, ordinances, and statutes.
Policy.
And I said that you guys are operating under U.S. maritime law and admiralty law, and that's the law of the sea. And I'm standing on the land. The law of the land is the Constitution. I said, isn't that right? She said, yes, you're absolutely right. I said, well, since you know that, I said, you're on my private property, and I'd like you to leave. She clipped her fingers together. She said, come on, fellas, let's go. And they were gone. If I had known, that's all I had to say.
How is she your private property?
Huh?
How is she your private property? Can you just explain that for me real fast?
You said how was that my private property?
Yeah, when you told her, well, she works for the city.
Well, listen. We were playing wordplay and word games and all that. I just said the right words to them to make them leave. Now, officially, that property wasn't mine. That was renting the property. but I said what I had to say to get them running, and she took note of it. She took note of the address, and they never came back to bother me ever since. And every time they would see me on the street, they would tip their hat and keep on going.
I'm about to pull all my con artist tricks out my pocket and put it back in my other pocket.
Well, I just listen. I just wanted to share that with you guys.
I mean, my book of counter reactions. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I wanted to share that with the sister because I see she was the conversation was getting escalated and it's just love and peace here, and you know, we're trying to share freedom and truth, and the thing is, there is ways to go about this private. I know people who do they do it's an indenture, not an indenture. It's a
hey, Fruit.
Injunction.
My
yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, they do.
Hey, hey, can we ask Free Soul to talk about the injunction and about the no? He's like, nope, don't ask me. I'm not talking about that shit.
We're talking about AMPC business.
We already talked about that. I already been told you about.
Well, he was mentioning the trust. I'm like, well, okay, speak about the trust. How we gonna get that trust? That trust.
How do you operate the trust?
The 98 EIN, right? Okay, let me ask the question. Hey, Razor, does the 98 trust come through the foreign 98 EIN?
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what the trust is, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Clarification. Thank you.
That's your new identification number for either that particular property or your private self.
Okay. So our last conversation, we had we were thinking like, oh, who's most who can get that 98 number better? Can I get it, or would it be better for AMPC? Can AMPC get it for us, or do we have to apply and call that number by ourselves?
That is a service that's provided if you're not familiar on how to do it correctly. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because for one, they're giving people a hard time doing the process. Most people don't do it right starting off and to begin with, but even when they do get on the line to establish a number, it's a lot of trick questions that they try to pull on you to try to tie you back to that straw man.
Yes.
When you got that. So yes, it's a fact. You can get away with a lot of stuff if you got the right paperwork before all this stuff.
Can we donate can we donate to AMPC to get that number for us? Or?
Yeah, it's one of the services. It's one of the services. This is the thing.
Then that question should be answered for everybody who has those type of questions, like the services wise. I just asked the question: can AMPC service us to help us get that out the way? Of course they can.
Yes.
Well, that means that goes with every other document that we need to file in order to possess.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's already in place.
Okay, everybody.
Talk to me about other processes or secure party creditor processes or injunctions that have worked for me before all this stuff has worked for Free Soul. We could talk about it, but that's when we're talking about going upstairs. We're not upstairs. Yeah. So we see all these black screens. I'm not going to be talking. It's like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So when we do get to like and
you already know what's you talk to me on the phone. You know what I'm saying? You know how it's no boundaries when we talk on the phone. You know, but we on the whole
about privacy.
There are definitely agents on the line right now. So we have to answer things a certain way, and people just have to be able to open up their adult mind to help process what we're trying to say directly and indirectly. See, one thing I realized that it's very hard to teach an adult mind some things, you know, or to reprogram an adult mind, because adult mind gets content into their own current understanding. And they you know, along with that adult mind comes their own pride and insecurities and things like that. And so they will take things in that matter instead of just, because I'm going to cut straight through to you because I don't got time for misinterpretation. So the answer is exactly how I give it to you. So you can, it ain't meant for you to maybe understand right there and now, so you can sleep on maybe. Because the process, the paperwork is just part of the process. This is a mental and spiritual war as well. So you have to be at a certain place consciously to be able to comprehend these things.
True.
That is that. I mean, it's a lot of things we can do. That is me saying it personally, that I know we can do in collaboration with other things, but it's not safe for me to put that out there. If that's not understood, I don't know what to tell nobody. Why would I help aid to a person's confusion that they already possess by saying you could do this, you could do this, you could do that, you could do that, instead of giving them an exact process on what is solid. You know, because at the end of the day, it's unsafe for me to say anything outside of that because I don't know what that individual person's current standing is right now. So what I give them right now might not apply to them because they're not in the proper standing to use that tool, which is why most people's injunctions don't work. And I tell you why they don't work.
Hey, Razor, so with the proper standing and the proper documentations, we shall be able to move in certain ways, which we weren't moving before we changed our status in the first place.
Absolutely.
So that's the whole concept. The reason why we're going through these reversals or bullshit or the backlash is because our initial status in the first place is not properly established.
And people, this is the biggest problem. People think there's you know what, you can have a person that done a lot of studying, a lot of reading or whatever. You can read for years, but not comprehending what you're reading and don't know how to execute what you've been studying. There's plenty of people out there. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not safe. It's not safe to share certain type of information based on those conditions. It's just not safe because, like I said, a lot of things that people have done, a lot of people have ran down and done a lot of paperwork already. A lot of affidavits all over the place. So if you got all these affidavits all over the place and we just throw you a bone on some stuff that's outside of the process of our particular process, because this is the thing, you can't get to a certain process until you. And we're gonna make sure you've gone through a certain process before you get to the next process. That's how we avoid those issues. But if a person asks a question that's related to a process outside of our processes, we might give you some stuff that might land you in jail. Who knows? Because you didn't tell us that you did an affidavit of such and such, and told this and that. And like I said, people are not honest on what they've already done and what they already understand right now, and they just want more. Just tell me this, tell me that. All I need is the bond. All I need
answers.
is
all they
like,
need is answers.
How do you? Most people can't not even to the level of understanding to tell nobody all they need. You don't know how all you need. You know what I'm saying? For the majority part, because I can tell what somebody's at damn near automatically based on the question they ask me.
Right. You
know what I'm saying? Because it takes a certain now. Once the person get that generalized understanding of what we're doing, they'll realize that they have a lot more leverage and power to use whatever tools that they already had.
Exactly.
They already gotten, and they will know how to apply it, because what you say and what you do can be used against you, or you can use it against others or the oppressors, whatever you know how to. That's the thing. This stuff we dealing with is some powerful information, powerful processes, and it has to be secure. Simple as that, man. Like, I'm trying to figure out how many more conferences and videos I got to do people understand. I actually want people to get it. But if the human mind don't allow me to shake up, like a lot of people don't want to be shaken out of their current understanding. You have to be shaken out of it. So it's not going, I might tell you some stuff you might not be happy about because you mad you spent thousands of dollars to so-and-so that sent you a zip drive of documents that you don't know what to do with. So you bringing that issue you have with him to me. I don't got nothing to do with that. So-and-so said on YouTube, okay, go talk to so-and-so. Oh, he ain't answering the phone. He ain't answering the email. I bet he's not. So, by all due respect, don't disrespect what we giving y'all. We giving y'all this every month. Just to
not
have,
enough.
Look, just to have the benefit to be able to argue with me. Like every month. I ain't got nothing else better to do.
Go ahead.
Hey, you know where I came from. You know, when I very first called you on your very first show live, talking about how to perfected my title with the UCC. So if you do follow, you got to do your due diligence. Even when you stand in front of the creator, can't nobody stand in front of him for you. You got to do your due diligence. And by you learning this stuff on your own, that's so if the cops come against you, you can explain what this paperwork is. It just helps you. You know, you can explain.
At least know something what you do.
Yeah.
JB can vouch for me saying that it's not about us telling you.
Or do you want hamburger buns?
What you say, Paul?
I was saying that you can vouch for the people to say that it's not about us or telling people that they have to go with ANPC for anything or go through me for anything or whatever like that. I'm just figuring like if you here, aren't you talking about what we're doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's why I'm giving you the information. So it's like, but that's not to say that we don't dibble and dabble and further educating ourselves on other processes as well. So what I'm saying is vouch for that, because JB is one of the people that he's involved in other processes. You know what I'm saying? I don't say nothing to him. I know he knows how to juggle the two and knows when to come back, how to come back, and how to separate the two. He understands that. You know what I'm saying? Abby, everybody on here has done multiple processes.
Hey, Razor.
Everybody has done multiple processes.
Hey, Razor.
What up?
I'm reading the chat, and somebody posted one can get their own EIN. However, need 5%. If it has to do with proper paperwork, without it, the 98 EIN is useless. And that came from Chris.
Yeah.
So it's useless. Man.
You gotta attach it to something.
Yes.
Why is it useless? But why is it useless?
Because you gotta have something attached and put in it. That 98 is an asset holding private trust. It holds things. So once you give something or transfer something to that trust, you're not the owner anymore. The trust is. So you gotta have your paperwork in line.
So the way it's appointed to how you're supposed to benefit, like Donald Trump appointed, the way he appointed his trust, so he is able to benefit off of that motherfucker.
Yeah, you gotta know how to set it up off the top. It's how you set it
So
up.
what is the proper way of setting it up?
It's the original, and the only reason I'm speaking is because I've been in the background with dealing with actual trustees over trust. You know,
That talk about their specific
it
titles
all
that they're obligated to do.
exactly. It all starts with your trust corpus and your indenture. That's one of the most important things of your trust, because that outlines how your trust is to be operated. It outlines how the public is supposed to treat you. You're supposed to have ADR provisions, clauses in there that indemnify the trustee. You know, you can make it to where the trustee can't even come to court to reveal anything, because it's a private trust under Article 1, Section 10. Period. That's
for the entity to show up, which is that's a private entity, right?
Yeah, it's private. You can't go into a magistrate. You know that's two different jurisdictions. You know, when you're in a trust, you're dealing with estates. You know, and your name is associated with a state, so that's why you got to have your name right and you got to have your trust right, because all that line up. You can't just go in pity patting, you know, jumping processes, because they can get you with that. It has to be in chronological order, made out.
Hey, JP.
Yeah.
Well, I heard on
What has to be in chronological order?
I'm on it.
We talked about Yusufel, and I was watching a video with Yusufel and him interviewing an ex
Gene Keaton or the JT Bay. JT Bay.
Yeah, Yusufel. Is it JT Bay? Yeah.
Yeah, it was JT Bay, the ex-IRS from the early 70s.
Yeah, he interviewed an ex-judge. Did you see that one?
Yeah, that's David Wynn. I don't think he's an ex-judge. He's still a judge in Hawaii.
Oh, he's still a judge.
Yeah, that's the man that does the linguistics when writing your paper.
Syntax grammar.
Syntax grammar.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
Yes. So I'm on them all. Those are good sources, especially Yusuf is good for law, especially trust. Because once you get into all these documents, everything is about trust. That's the only way the 1871 District of Columbia Organic Act is in place, because it's a trust. Doing business as the United States.
But can you administer the trust in court?
Without a bank.
See, that's why in the trust you have to have not a board, but you got to have a secretary. You got to have a trustee. You got to have a beneficiary.
And that's all in the trust indenture. That's all in the motherfucking the initial perfected title, right?
But how do the trust work? How do the trust work in court?
Is it called a trust indenture?
It's not that side. Yeah, buddy.
That's in the cloud. Is it called a trust indenture? What we create in the beginning for the trust, in order for us to operate the way.
Hey, peace, bro. Peace, bro.
We make the trust.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Right,
as far as what bro's saying about the trust, Hellraiser, when you guys provide those documents, do y'all provide like information to teach us how to operate from the trust, or do we have to find those documents on our own?
Nah, everything is set up for you in the instructions that would apply to you as far as to complete. After you do your part, NPC does their part. You know, it's pretty much all about, you know, keeping your head in the game. You know.
Okay. See, I was saying that in reference to what the brother was asking about the trust, because you know, like I was saying initially, we have to do our own due diligence. And the thing is, everybody is looking for the remedy, but none of us really want to do the work. You know. So to get back to my personal questions, right now I'm in college, and you know I'm receiving financial aid. So would it be best for me to wait till I graduate from college and go ahead and perfect my status correction and stuff like that?
Nah, things are not just gonna disappear and start falling out the sky and stuff like that. It's all good. You can start different processes now.
Okay.
This the biggest difference from as far as the trust in general. Like some people have gotten their 98s, whether it's incorrect or not, they're able to obtain the trust, technically. You know, the thing about it is, that's the end of the story. They got the 98. They say, hey, I got my
that's where I'm at myself. Like, I've done some things, and like I said, I've stopped doing a lot of things because I want to go back and perfect everything correctly. You know, I got a trust number. I mean, I got several EIN numbers. I've filed a 1, but now I'm going back to cancel that, you know, do the UCC3 and terminate it. Send in the IRS forms to terminate the EIN numbers. And I just want to start all the way over fresh because like I say, you know, learning so many different things from this person and that person, and you start mixing up stuff without a clear understanding. And I speak for myself because like I say, I'm going to college and I also work a job too. So my time to study is so limited. I actually supposed to be at work now, but I said, man, I ain't going to work. I'm looking at this conference call. This is my first time actually seeing one. And if I miss one more day, man, I'm gonna get fired. But I'm like, shit, you know, this is more important, you know.
Is it important to have a UCC, non-UCC one?
Well, that's two different things. Well, let's just say this. Everything we do on this private side is done through the non-UCC. And that's going through the international records. I'll say that. Now, 90% of, if not 100% of the secure party process is all dealing with the UCC one on the public side, which is between the private and the public.
And that's what I did. And that's why I was asking, as far as like with the trust, do you guys give instructions of how to operate? I was basically asking, like, if I was to basically reach out to you personally and say, okay, look, Hellraiser, I got this, I've done that. Do you guys actually assist us with going back to correct that? Or do you guys just work with the processes and what y'all offering?
Typically, certain things are hard some things are hard to pretty much determine if you've done it correctly or not. So it's best to do a fractional. Now, like if you go through NPC to get your trust done, you know, it's gonna be established, and you're gonna receive instructions on the do's and don'ts on how to operate. It's really flat out simple as that. Like this is the biggest difference outside of that. You're gonna get a trust for a particular reason this time.
Right.
So if you get a trust, that means you're gonna get a marriage trust for your marriage. Or you're gonna get a trust for your vehicle. For your vehicle. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get a number and be like, okay, what do I do now? You're gonna have these things in place specifically for what you're trying to do.
Right.
Because
I'm asking these questions so other people can really understand what you're saying. Because I understand the difference between separating everything. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. But again, like I was saying, my thing is understanding how to operate.
Right.
And I don't be having the time to study like I want to because I'm so caught up with school and work. But I understand the things that can be done. So I'm making time now to study, and I'm trying to go through your processes to do my studying across the new process instead of trying to continue to study the old methods, if that make any sense.
Yeah, I know. No, I mean, yeah, you're right. This is the thing. There's not really a lot of stuff out there as far as operating in the private, and nothing out there as far as related to our processes per se. But the thing is how you learn how to operate is staying close with people out here that's operating.
Right.
You know, this is how you once you get your vehicle trust established, now you have a union of people that also have their vehicle.
Hey, Hellraiser. Not to cut you off, but Sam got kicked out the room. Sam said he got kicked out the room. Can you let him back in?
Look, he called me now. You see that? Perfect example.
So you
direct contact, right?
I don't know what else I could do. No. Like, so, like I said, the best thing y'all could do, I keep saying, maybe I'm not, maybe the concept of staying in the game is not rubbing off. And you literally have to be, knowing how to operate these things y'all getting won't be a concern because you'll be in the game. You'll be on, you're on the team. You know, we're gonna tell you how you should do this, how you should do that. Based on relationships.
Conversation change. I raised her, man. I
got stuff the whole year, like free. 25
minutes,
man. Huh? You say what?
I got kicked out the conference call for about 20 minutes.
Oh, you was out.
Let me back in this motherfucker.
Hey, I knew it was too quiet. I knew something.
I know you mentioned a marriage trust. How do you set up the marriage trust?
See.
You gotta rewind the video for.
We hit that. We hit that earlier.
Yeah, I came in late. Yeah, I came into the conference late.
A couple of people talked about that one.
That's not nothing I can really tell you personally because I haven't done it. But anybody can get a copy of this video shortly to go back.
Okay. I'll just go back and listen to it.
But the how-tos, I think the question more so is, okay, decide what you're trying to do and just walk through the door. All that are going to be provided for you.
Right.
Because the exact me to answer that question directly, I wouldn't be able to because we got too many black screens.
Right. I got you.
That's a perfect example of what I'm saying. All of us trying to perfect the process, but we have a lot of black screens, like you can say. So the more private we go to, we're gonna get into the unions spot, and we're gonna get more private. So the conversations we're gonna have on the private side can be way more different than these conversations that we're having here. Because I got shut down on certain questions. There's certain things you cannot ask on these conference calls. In order to do it, only the AMPC members that are going through full force actually on level B or level D get those type of answers. So that's what I'm learning.
Exactly. It's based on this. If you come in, you go through the initial process to the point of getting your trust. Yep. Once you have your trust, now we can talk trust now. You know what I'm saying? Once you get
I have all that.
You know. Right. So that's why the answer had to be generalized, even though we're trying to give as much information as possible without compromising the process.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Because we got a lot of people that haven't even done the prep course, but are asking questions about shit that are supposed to be questions for people that passed the prep course for the next step. You know what I'm saying? I got shut down already earlier today.
That's basically what
shut me down. She said, "You don't know shit about that."
That's what it's all about. And guess what?
It's your turn.
You're gonna be the same way, Sam. Everybody's gonna be the exact same way. People start asking y'all questions about the process.
Sir.
You're gonna.
It makes sense. It makes so much sense.
I promise you're gonna be the exact same way.
Same way. I am. I am. I'm not gonna be like, go ahead, ask me that question. I'm gonna give you the answer. Well, I'm gonna tell you do your shit first, and then we can talk.
The purpose of these open public conferences is to expose people that have done the processes already, so they can say like, yeah, I've done that. It works. It's official. Blah blah blah. You see what I mean? So, to encourage you guys to go forward if that's what you choose to do. You know, but then you will learn about the process once you go start the process. You will know what you need to learn when you start that process. Because trust and believe it. And even every conference, people are still going to go off the little bit of information we do give and start trying to do stuff on their own. Guaranteed, hands down. I can go to Hillraisers Legacy right now to the chat room and point out some stuff. I ain't going to do that.
Because people are trying to not.
Yeah.
Hey, Razor, that's just funny because people are trying to hit us up on the low end, on the private side, and be like, "Hey, bro, did you guys purchase a bond? Do you know how to do the perfect title without purchase?" But that's what they're coming to the conclusion is. It's like, if AMPC can come up with these certain documentations for the people, they're saying like, well, why can't I come up and draw that shit up on my own? That's gonna come into play.
You can type some stuff up
as a team.
You can type some
but the
stuff
fact
up.
that we're working
You
as a
can
family.
type some stuff up, and you can also go to jail on your own too.
Exactly.
That's the reason I'm here.
The biggest thing is the facts versus reality. It's a fact. You can print up your own stuff and go do this, do that. You can do it. Go right ahead. I encourage people to do whatever they want to do. Don't bother me. Don't harass me about me if you want in on these processes, but you mad because we're not giving to you. You really want to do your own thing. That's my
Or it's like working with wood, man. You measure twice and cut once. You know, you want the process done right.
Here's something that might be of interest to a few. For example, I mean, yeah, we can all go out on our own and do things, but if you look in nature, a lot of the animals go in either herds or in herds, and there's a reason they're doing that, for protection. So let me just give you a little example. One of our members, she was from the Moorish Nation originally, and she came to ANPC. She got the ID and the authenticated IDs, and she decided she was going to fly. She was going to fly to see her brother. I think she was flying from Maryland to New York, and she didn't have any problem the first leg of her journey using the private ID going through TSA. But when she got to Phoenix, Arizona, the TSA absolutely was not going to let her go, no matter what. So a couple of our team members got on the phone, called the Arizona Secretary of State, and there's a department in there that deals with global record numbers. Now, the ANPC ID cards have a global record number. That's what it's called. If you ever call in to search, you want to be sure you specify you need to talk to the department that deals with global record numbers. So we got a hold of that department. We spoke to the head guy there. He looked up our global record number, which you get when you get an authentication. He said, yeah, that's a valid number. Yeah, I see it here. It shows every Secretary of State has it on file. And so we told him the issue that the member of ours was having. He said, okay, no problem. He said, I'll drive down to the airport. Now he drove 2 to 2.5 hours from wherever the Secretary of State, wherever his office was, to the airport to help our member. He went in there, he spoke with the TSA. He said, now this is a valid ID, you know, here's the global record number we have on it. Here's everything. And the TSA just said, we don't have to listen to you. We are not listening to you. You just go out. And so he took our member aside and he said, you know what? He said, I've done all in my power. He said, your ID is valid. It has a global record number. But he said, I'm telling you this right now. TSA is a foreign rogue agency. They are under no jurisdiction of any Secretary of State or anything. So he said, there's nothing we can do with them. So that's just something interesting that we have, you know, not just all of us for each other when we have a problem, but even the Secretaries of State on their file have that global record number that they will, if they need to, you know, and we've proved it with the Arizona one, that they will come out and help. It was really great.
Can we sue them, Chris? Can we hold them liable for
private organization
contracting with us properly, or violating our contract that we're stating in front of their face? Can we hold them liable for them not
private? They private, so they wrapped up in the trust.
Persona, is that right or is that wrong?
That's the reason why we have identification. Huh? That's the purpose of being bonded and having that fee schedule in place for certain circumstances. We do need to get somebody's pockets.
Once we get to that status, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's what those things are. Remember, that's like those things are like our insurance policy. But the thing about it is,
makes sense now. A lot of us are operating in fear. A lot of us are operating in fear. And the reason why, I mean, I could probably speak maybe, but a lot of us think that there's no other way out. There's no other way. Once we get a judgment to our name, there's a fearful factor that we can be locked up. So a lot of us in these conference calls, and I'm pretty sure a lot of these people are sitting here like, so what makes us solve it? What makes us this? What makes us that? But those are the questions that you need to ask once you pass the prep course and you get to that next level. Because there's a lot of black screens and there's a lot of people that are not saying anything. I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. You guys just doing your due diligence. But you got other brothers and sisters out here that are actually doing the proper paperwork for, because like we said, it's not written in stone. This shit ain't here for us to read a book and then do it. But we have AMPC at our fingertips because we're signed up with them. We're giving them the trust, the accountability to give us these proper information. So once we give them our trust, we gotta say, hey, I gave AMPC the trust to help us get through these certain situations. You got all these, we're still asking questions. We're asking questions. Why we can't get this? Why we don't understand that? But from my understanding is that the more I do my prep course and the more I do my steps, the more answers get revealed to me, because the more private I'm getting. Mm-hmm. No one wants to talk to nobody that's really private, and they're not going to give you no answers. Chris just told me, be quiet, boy. You don't know nothing about them bonds, boy. I said, oh, shit. Hey.
They can't. It's private knowledge.
As a grown-ass man, I slapped myself in the chin. I told myself, be quiet. I don't know nothing about that, boy. So I did respond to that in a proper grown-ass man way. I said, you know what? She's right. Let me not ask them type of questions no more. Thank you, Razor. Thank you to the family. It's all because of the way y'all established this shit to crack. The way I'm eating off of it. And so I appreciate y'all. Free Soul, JP, all y'all.
That's what it's all about, man. I mean,
family.
We shouldn't have. It shouldn't be a point where we have to beg people to understand the privilege of being a part of a unit. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's not to the point where they get hemmed up by themselves and then they go trying to call home to the family. And now guess what? A lot of cases it's too late. You got to put yourself in a position before problems occur. You got to make these ties and alliances before problems occur. You know, it's like, I don't understand. That's basic common sense to me.
Hey, Anthony Locke, is that JP? Who's Anthony
JB.
Locke?
Nah, JB. He his name is the real life.
I'm looking okay, the real life, man. Okay, I'm like, what the fuck? That confused me for a second. I'm like, wait.
I was on the phone at first, and it cut out. Yeah, the powers that be didn't want me talking. I was about to say something I wasn't supposed to say. But you know, brother, get to rolling. But it's all to protect the people. For much is known, much is required. And if you get some information and you try to act on it, you know, you don't know the basis of it. Because really, you gotta, like what I had to do, like for a year, I've been going at it, and this is 6-7 hours a day in studying. Because you went through school for 12 years. It's like you gotta deprogram that and then learn everything. Everything.
Thank
you gotta
you.
learn
That's
it back
exactly
over.
what I was saying.
Yep. So I feel you. What is it, Miss Zinga?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to tell Hellraiser. It's just like when you go to these schools and be brainwashed to BS for 12, even plus years if you go to college, and then you go out here and somebody try to explain something, maybe the truth to you, and you gotta be tight. You can't get mad when that person don't take it in the first time, or second time, or third time.
We're not getting mad. We're not getting mad.
Can't get an attitude. And then when all this information, and it might be misinformation, but it's all this information on secure party creditor and other ways you can do this. So that's why I'm trying to get a clarification on things. But when people get an attitude on when you ask a question, you can't do that. You can't do that.
It ain't the Ms. Inga. Is that the way you pronounce it, Ms. Inga? Okay, I'm sorry. Just to address you, because you know our platform is based on user friendly. We don't knock nobody process. If you could use it, you could use it. If you can't, throw it out.
Amen.
From just coming from Hellraiser's perspective, it's not more or less the way he's not getting the attitude. You can't have emotion in this thing. It's you taking a person from up on the top level. Now I got to come all the way down to teach you as a baby. Not saying it's your fault. It's just if you can't understand what he's trying to put in plain words, that's when it comes to, now you just got to sit back and listen. Right, it's going to pop in your head. The more you listen to people, the more you can cross-reference information, do your own due diligence, and then you can put it together as you see fit. It's just, he's not, we don't come in nobody, like just saying, this is it. We ain't never said that. It's just, if you take the emotion out, you won't take certain comments personal. Let's put it that way. Because everybody, we still babes in this. I'm telling you.
Everybody is on a different level. Everybody's not on the same level. And that's if you're
We're still learning.
Or if you're teaching something, you can't expect everybody to be on the same level because everybody's not going to be. So when somebody asks a question, you can't be all huffing and puffing and sighing and shaking your head.
Well, no, it's just if the teacher is now, don't take this personally to you. Don't take this personally to you. But if a teacher is talking